3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the Police Show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is already a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, and as always, streaming on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. We got a whole lot to do today. We got two guests coming up in this first hour. Christian Benford from the Buffalo Bills just signed earlier this offseason a 4-year, $76 million contract with the Buffalo Bills to stay with Bills Mafia. He's going to join us 20 minutes from now. Hot Take Hickey, Ryan Hickey, will be joining us in studio 40 minutes from now at 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. A whole lot to do, so let's start it off, and we'll do so with the association. So last night, you saw the Indiana Pacers have another moment. the Indiana Pacers going to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals should be something that we celebrate and is a tremendous accomplishment. And also, I think it's time for a lot of us to acknowledge, if you haven't already done so, that Tyrese Halliburton has been so good for them. And the fact that it was in April, The Athletic came out, and The Athletic ended up saying from an anonymous player poll that Tyrese Halliburton was the most overrated player in the league. Well, that ended up being one big fat lie and one big fat joke. Because he has taken the Indiana Pacers and I don't care if you want to make excuses and say, oh, the Cavs got hurt, oh, the Knicks got hurt. It doesn't matter. You play who is on the court. And in the last 2 years, Tyrese Halliburton has got his team to the Eastern Conference Finals. And last year, he got hurt when they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. So hopefully he can get a good bill of health for this year. So everyone could chime in and everyone could say how utterly ridiculous it was that the players, right? This wasn't media being dopey, which we could be. This wasn't, anonymous executives. This was a player poll. I think it was 90 players. And Tyrese Halliburton had the highest percentage of votes to be the most overrated player in the league. And that is ridiculous. Because, right, you look at a team like the Indiana Pacers, there are stars and there are superstars. Let me be clear. Do I think Tyrese Halliburton is a superstar? No. But he's their number one star on a team. And when you look at usual number one stars that you think competing for a championship, you think of someone of the caliber of a LeBron, of a Kevin Durant, of a Steph Curry, of a Nikola Jokic, of a Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, teams that have won championships, let's just say in the last 20 years, Kobe Bryant, right? Shaquille O'Neal. When you go through the list of teams that have won championships in the last 25, 30 years or so. And there are some outliers, some years where a team wins a championship and you're like, it's not the most star-studded lineup. But when Tyrese is your number one and the way he makes everyone around him better, the fact that Indiana could get to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals is pretty cool. And you say to yourself, are there limitations on the Pacers? Right? Like, if I tell you right now, Stu, the Knicks, the Pacers, the Thunder, and let's say the Minnesota Timberwolves are your four teams remaining, because that's probably the collision course that we're on. Where OKC is now 3-2 up against Denver last night. It is criminal. You ever see, I'll use a soccer reference. You ever see that video of the soccer coach? I think it may be high school. I don't know what it is, a foreign soccer coach, where he walks into the locker room at halftime of a game and he starts smacking every player. I know Samter and Stu, they're big soccer guys, right? So I'll make a soccer analogy so we can all get on the same page. Nikola Jokic last night, after he made that three, that was one of the most acrobatic threes that I've ever seen. I have tried that at a gym. Now, I haven't hit it, but we have all done that, like, old man, just, look off balance, throw up a three, right? Oh, it goes in. Or you think it goes in, but it doesn't actually go in. Nikola Jokic last night, he put that shot up with basically a second left on the shot clock. No one thought it was going in, and he's the only player in the league that could make a shot like that, where it's so unorthodox, where it is so ugly, but it is so sweet. And when he made that shot, which I think it did tie up the game, I'm thinking to myself, can anyone on the Nuggets stand up and help out the Joker? Jamal Murray? No. Aaron Gordon? No. Michael Porter Jr.? No. Christian Braun? No. No one else on that team. They just had one guy that had a pulse on that team last night outside of Nikola Jokic. They would have done what I thought they were going to do. Go into OKC, win that game 5, and take the 3-2 series lead. It is not even close right now. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the league. But no one on that team had any interest in helping him last night. So the Joker should have been able to go into that locker room after the game and been like that soccer coach and just slap every one of his teammates. And maybe the Joker's actually happy that his team's about to be going home because now he can go back to where he's from and go play with his horses. So that wouldn't shock me. But Stu, what I was going to ask you, if you look at the 4 teams that are probably going to the conference finals, the Pacers are already in, the Timberwolves on the verge of going, the Thunder on the verge of going, and the Knicks on the verge of going. In terms of the team that could go on and win the championship that you least envision it with, would you say that the Pacers are the one out of those 4 that you least envision them not only getting to the NBA Finals, but then winning the championship as well?
Yeah, I would probably pick the team out west to win it. So that would leave the Pacers and Knicks, and I think I would favor the Knicks over the Pacers. So yes, I think the Pacers are the least likely.
Yeah, if those are the 4, I would say Thunder are 1. I would then give the slight edge 2 to the Timberwolves, even though I think the Knicks could get to the finals and beat the Timberwolves. And I think the Pacers could get to the finals and beat the Timberwolves. But I would say that the Timberwolves are 2, the Knicks are 3, and the Pacers are 4. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe a team like the Pacers, if they have a limitation of like how the Heat had a limitation with Jimmy Butler, where you could get to the finals twice, but you know that you're probably not going to win the championship. Either way, what Tyrese Halliburton has done, let's not rain on his parade today. It is magnificent. He deserves the moment. And you know what? I'll even take it a step further. I heard him on McAfee earlier. I kind of feel bad for his dad now. I don't think people would expect me to say this because I said that his dad was a big dummy and his dad was a big jackass, right, for what he did with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I stand by that. And he's lucky that Giannis Antetokounmpo in that moment didn't just throw a punch and a big left hook or a big right hook right in the face of Halliburton's father, because I think we all would have been fine with that. I think we all would have been good with that. I would have had zero problem if that's how Giannis Antetokounmpo would have responded. But could you imagine? Your kid is now off to the Eastern Conference Finals. You were banned for all the second round, and you have a ban on you for the foreseeable future of going to Pacers games to watch your kid, your son, in the Eastern Conference Finals and then maybe the NBA Finals. Like, I understand if Stu ran on the court and if Stu ran up to Giannis Antetokounmpo, everyone would be like, Stu should be banned for life if he did what Halliburton's father did. So I guess you should be held to the same standard, but you don't hold, right, a player's father to the same standard where he shouldn't do that and he should know better. But is he really not going to be able to go to these games for the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe the NBA Finals? Like, part of me says, okay, you made him sit out this round, let him back in the building, and if he ever does something even remotely close or even a quarter close to what he did at the end of that Milwaukee Bucks series, then there's no other opportunity. Then he's banned for life. But you look at the 4 teams potentially remaining, right? I think at this point we all agree the Knicks are going to win this series up 3-1. We know that the Pacers are already through. You look at the other 2 teams, I would imagine, hey, I understand OKC is up 3-2. I know Nikola Jokic is by far and away the best player in the league. Even with how great Nikola Jokic was last night, it still wasn't good enough because that team is not built properly. You know, maybe there were moments last night where they missed Michael Malone as the coach, but what is looking to age well and age correctly is that Calvin Booth could have put together a better team to support the Joker in Nikola Jokic. So could the Joker have an all-time great performance in Game 6 and 7 and come on back in this series? Yes. But I would anticipate the Thunder getting to the Western Conference Finals. And then also, you have no Steph Curry for a Game 5. We'll see if he'll even return for a Game 6. If you're Minnesota, and I know you have played with your food a lot so far in this postseason, especially in this series where yes, I know you're up 3-1, but you lost Game 1. There's moments even when you won, you haven't looked all that impressive. I would not play with my food tonight. I would issue the kill shot tonight. When you have a chance, right, like you're a sniper, you shoot to kill. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they need to shoot to kill tonight. Because if you shoot and you miss, and that dude Steph Curry is not even a lock that'll be back for Game 6, but if he gets on the court in Game 6 and he wins that game 6, then a lot of people are going to be looking at you and saying all the pressure is on you for a game 7. I'm not comparing it directly. Remember when the Red Sox came on back against the Yankees back in 2004, right? Stu and Santa, you guys as Yankee fans obviously remember that. Kevin Millar was seen on the field before game 4 when they were talking about, how do you come on back from down 3-0 and all that. And he goes, don't let us win this one tonight. Don't let us win this one tonight. If Steph comes back for game 6, that's the let us not win this one tonight. So we'll see if the Timberwolves can find a way to say goodbye and wave goodbye to the Golden State Warriors. But, yeah, if I'm being honest with you, I do anticipate the Minnesota Timberwolves to go on to win that series up 3-1. And if you look at it, the lay of the land, if the Eastern Conference Finals is the Pacers and the Knicks, and the Western Conference Finals is the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder, folks, it's not even close. The pressure to win a championship is by far and away on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then after that, I would say the most amount of pressure is on Anthony Edwards, just because last year he got to a Western Conference Finals. So many people were saying, the Timberwolves are going to the NBA Finals. And then you saw Luka Doncic when he was on the Dallas Mavericks before Nico Harrison did something so idiotic and traded him. You saw Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving get the Mavs to the NBA Finals. But it's kind of fascinating when you look at this era now of the NBA. Because, right, for the last 15 years, you knew LeBron, KD, or Steph Curry was going to be winning an NBA championship. And, right, you had a few years where Kawhi, right, won 2 championships. You had the end of the Spurs run with Tim Duncan. But you then look at the next 2 best players that were in that younger tier that won league MVPs. And it was, can they win a championship? Well, Giannis did, and Nikola Jokic did. Now there's a younger wave, though, and you have a lot of younger stars all on different levels. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Donovan Mitchell went home last night. Jalen Brunson is still playing. Tyrese Halliburton, who's still playing. Ant Edwards, who could be the next face of the league, right, still playing. And if that's the 4 teams remaining, you will have a new star win a championship. Because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's never won a championship before. Ant Edwards has never won a championship before. Talking about in the NBA. Jalen Brunson has never won a championship before in the NBA. And neither has Tyrese Halliburton. But who would have thought before the playoffs started, if you would have told me one of Boston or the Cavs would have gone down, okay, believable. The fact that one has already gone down, the other one is on the verge of going down, and even if they get through, they won't have Jason Tatum, it's inconceivable that we're going to have the Eastern Conference Finals, and in all likelihood, it will not feature the Boston Celtics or the Cleveland Cavaliers. Out in the West, I was very confident with OKC. I didn't know who else would get there. And once the Timberwolves got through up against the Los Angeles Lakers, I think that sent the message, people forget what we just did a year ago. And people were sleeping on us because we weren't dominant in the regular season, even though we were nowhere close to being terrible. So, I look at those 4 potential teams. It is clear now, especially after taking a 3-2 lead, and you got to finish out the Nuggets first. Pressure to win a title when you're going to have the Celtics potentially out by tonight. You already have the Cavs out. It's easily on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And anything short of a championship for them this year would be a giant disappointment when you've been the number 1 seed the last 2 years in the Western Conference. All righty, we will take a break. When we come on back, Christian Benford is a tremendous story from Villanova, ended up being a 6th-round pick, and now is a highly compensated cornerback in this league. 4-year deal, $76 million this past offseason, plays for the Buffalo Bills. Bills, one of those teams that have been knocking on the door the last few years. Can they punch through? Can they get to a Super Bowl? Can they win a Super Bowl? We chatted up with Christian Benford next, right here on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, welcome back in. It is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. What a story Christian Benford has become. He was a 6th-round draft pick in the 2022 NFL Draft out of Villanova. He was drafted by the Bills, has been with the Bills for his entire career, and he's turned into a kick-ass corner in this league, and a few months ago was rewarded with a 4-year contract worth $76 million, and Christian is kind enough to join us right now. Christian, first and foremost, congratulations on the new deal. I know it's been a while, but we do appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so when you finally put that pen to paper and you signed that contract and you got to get up from that chair, what was it feeling like when you knew that you were going to be staying in Buffalo with a lot of extra money going into your bank account?
Yeah, I was honestly feeling blessed, very appreciative of the position that I'm in. And during that moment, I was just like so much appreciation, so much joy. And I was just thanking God that I got the opportunity to be there.
I love a story like yours where you go to Villanova, right? You end up becoming a 6th-round draft pick, and the hard work eventually gets recognized and it pays off, and you've turned into a really good football player. Kind of take me through the journey, how all this became possible from Nova to the early days of the NFL to now the person that we're talking to today.
Really, it was just like my relationship with God. It got stronger throughout the years. I continued to pursue God and lean on my team because I couldn't do it by myself. I had a lot of resources, coaches that believed in me, like some pastors that would help me with the word, understand the word of God and where to go, and the wisdom and how to read the Bible and how to understand God, what He likes, what it's like to be like a follower of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And those moments impacted me to every step of the way, because without those resources, without those talks about God, without those Bible studies, I don't think it would be possible for me to be here, honestly. And obviously my family and having the great individuals in my corner, because it do help when you have the right people around you. I do believe that like your environment does have an impact of who you are and how you become. Due to the fact of your environment can push you to be better, or it can hinder you in your mindset. It can teach you. Your environment can teach you, or it can decay you. So a lot of that kind of ties into who I am today.
Christian Benford here with us from the Buffalo Bills. You know, you may have said growing up, hey, you wanted to play in the NFL, but with this journey and this road that you've traveled on, when did you start to feel like that was a reality, that not only do you want to play football and you're good at it, but you could go on to maybe be a good player at the next level?
I always believed, I always had faith, but honestly, once I got to the league is when I realized, cause I was always humble. I'm a realist at the end of the day. I believe since I was in Pop Warner, I can make it. I just kept working hard, but I wasn't there yet, so I didn't want to sit here and be like, yeah, I could do this. I'm gonna make it to the league. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen. God can humble you, or God can say that's just not my path. So I just kept working and kept believing. But obviously, once I got to the league, I was like, yeah, I could do this. Like, I believe I'm at where I fit. I fit where I'm at.
You know, just wondering, when you were growing up as a kid, were there a few football players that you admired? Or was there a team that you grew up supporting?
Honestly, I'm from Baltimore, so the Ravens. And I didn't admire nobody. I felt like I wanted to be the one that everybody admired. I wanted to be a difference maker, someone to impact somebody's life for the better, just off of my actions. Because I don't really talk too much. I feel like action speaks louder than words anyway. But some people that I obviously majorly grew up watching was like Eric Reed, Ray Lewis, Joe Flacco, Ray Rice, and all of them. But yeah, I didn't really admire nobody. It was just, I wanted to be the one that admired, like just to help other people, not for like the pedestal or for the my name this, my name is that. Just to be the one that admires, so that I can help kids to like better themselves for their future.
And I know you do a lot of charity work. Tell me about some of the work that you do, not only in your hometown community, but also probably in the Buffalo community as well.
Yeah. So I do a lot of donations to like the Buffalo City Mission. I love to just drive around some days and just give care packages to the homeless. I'm also helping out with donations to like foster cares out here in Buffalo. I have a guy out in Baltimore. He does the Baltimore Homeless Project, and just help him as much as I can. He does great by himself. but I try to help as much as I can because that's just something I'm passionate about. I have a foundation called 47 Hearts. That's where we try to raise money, obviously, to help, again, homeless, foster care systems, homeless shelters that have like single moms with their children, because it's tough already being a single mom, and just any way that we could help them with shelter, upraise the kids in the predicament that they're in. Food, giving out the food to anybody. So that's all my foundation is looking for you. And that's what a lot of my book proceeds go to. That you can get my book on christianbenford.com. But my book, like some of the proceeds go to my foundation where we raise money to help those individuals. But yeah, I just always have a heart for it. And I just feel like the world is tough as is. And there could be different makers out there that can help those people that's having a tough road. Sometimes it's not their fault. It's just the cards that they're dealt, and the way society is nowadays, sad to say. But individuals like us can make a difference. We can help.
And, it's almost contagious giving back as Christian Benford's here with us. Just in the Bills locker room, like, I'm very close friends with Deion Dawkins, who went to college together. I know what he does to give back to the community. We obviously know the impact that Damar Hamlin has had on many people's life with what he's been through. It seems like that's a real close-knit locker room in Buffalo where obviously you guys are teammates, you're brothers, but you also make it a point of emphasis to really, give back and do a lot of charitable work.
Yeah, we all just got the heart for it. The heart and the love to help other individuals.
What is it like for you to see what Damar Hamlin has been able to do the last few years with what he had to recover from? And then we know he got back 2 years ago, but the season he had this year was truly unbelievable with how he was able to play on the field.
Yeah, I'm proud of him. I see what he goes through behind closed doors and see how much work he puts in. So it's a blessing that he's able to be in this predicament and what he came to be. It's not easy to do what he did. It's not easy to do what he's doing right now. So I'm happy for him, and I try to tell him that I'm proud of him, just because I am, not just so he could hear it, but just so I could let him know that I'm really proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself for being at where you are, from where you came from.
Christian Benford here with us for a few more minutes of the Zach Gelb Show from the Buffalo Bills. Signed that big 4-year, $76 million contract this offseason. The schedule comes out tonight. I know it's already getting leaked left and right if you go online today. But is there an opponent that you maybe have circled when the schedule comes out that you're going to be rushing to see when you end up playing them?
Nah, not really. I don't really be getting into all that. I'm just...
I'm telling you, I look at your schedule, the home schedule, it's something. You not only got division teams, you got the Ravens, you got the Bengals, you got the Bucks, you got the Eagles, and also the Chiefs. I know a lot of people are going to circle that Chiefs game for you. You guys have beat them the regular season. You haven't been able to get the job done, obviously, in the postseason. What do you say to maybe the Bills fan that's like, man, you guys have been so good for the last few years, but you keep on coming up short up against the Chiefs in the playoffs? Why should they still believe in this group that you guys could one day beat Kansas City come the postseason?
Because belief is going to take us there. That's why, and we're never the same team. We always growing from the last year or the last year, the previous year, finding ways to be better. So belief is what's going to take us all the way there.
You feel like this team it's got to be like you guys feel like you're right on the verge of breaking through, right?
Yep.
And obviously you have a great quarterback in Josh Allen. What is it like when you're able to see what Josh is able to do week in and week out as he just won the MVP of the NFL this past year?
Yeah, it's awesome to witness that firsthand and for him to be on our team. He's a great individual and a great ball player.
I want to ask you, two more things I'll ask you, Christian Benford, before we let you run. Villanova, take me through your recruiting process and how you ended up landing, picking to go play at Villanova.
Honestly, I was just going to a lot of the football camps, and I only had 2 offers and 0 stars. I had Morgan State and them, and the DB coach there was really cool, and I was big on backup plans because football don't last forever. It can make a difference in your life, but it don't last forever. So I wanted to I want to make it where like I have something to hold my hat on when I'm done with this. And Villanova is a great nursing school, business school, has many connections. It's known for its academics. So I took it. And it's for a scholarship. They had to pay for it. So why not? As a kid that only has 2 offers and 0 stars, And I've seen other people make it from the FCS level. And not just seeing that, but I believed I could have done it. You know what I'm saying? Just belief, just like I said before, belief take you far. So
you always had that belief, like you said, but when you hear it, 0 stars, 2 offers, Villanova, 6th-round pick, now you have this huge contract. Is it a little still surreal just how quickly you were able to accomplish these things and end up making it in the NFL?
Yeah, it is surreal. I try not to look at it too much because I'm still in it, but I do be grateful to God, give my thanks to God. But other than that, I don't look outside of appreciation to God. Let's keep it at that. I don't do nothing else with it.
So off of that, how do you view yourself right now as a player? And when you're fully, at your apex and you've reached all your full potential, what do you think Christian Benford can really look like on a football field?
A game changer, MVP.
MVP. I like that, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Not just Defensive Player of the Year, MVP. I love that answer. All right, last question, most important one. Where do you get your wings in Buffalo?
My wings? I ain't gonna lie to you. That's tough because it depends. It depends because I be Uber Eats. I ain't gonna lie. I be Uber Eats.
You're not waiting in line at Bar Bill is what you're telling me.
I might, but if I have a family here, I go to Bar Bill. But if I want to Uber Eats, I do America's Best Wings. Cause from in Baltimore, that's what we got, America's Best Wings, and that's we do chicken boxes or America's Best Wings. So when I came here, I saw they got America's Best Wings, so I took it. I was like, yeah,
gotcha. I would say you should test out some of those local Buffalo spots. That's just me. You're a blue cheese guy, right? You're not a ranch guy, right?
I'm certified ranch.
Oh my God! What is up with you guys on the Bills? Deion Walker, your new teammate, he's a ranch guy as well. We're having a tremendous conversation. Now you're a ranch guy, Christian Benford. You just ruined the whole conversation.
Yeah, blue cheese. I don't know. I don't do too much cheese, honestly. That's right.
All righty. Well, I'll talk to Deion. We will get you to Bar Bill with some big blue cheese, and we'll make sure that we get you taken care of. But Christian, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Appreciate you.
There he is, Christian Benford, joining us on the show. What a fun story. 4 years, $76 million contract, out of Villanova, no stars, 2 offers, and now a tremendous cornerback in the NFL and got rewarded this past offseason by the Buffalo Bills. Let's take a break. Hot Take Hickey joins us in the studio next. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
And we begin with a riddle sponsored by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com. The Chiefs and Eagles will meet again after playing in the Super Bowl. They'll battle in Week 2 in Kansas City. The Chiefs also a part of the Thanksgiving tripleheader. They'll face the Cowboys in Game 2 on that day, and what will be a homecoming for Texas native Patrick Mahomes will be playing in Dallas for the first time in his career. The Ravens and Derrick Henry come to terms on a 2-year extension worth a total of $25 million in guaranteed money. 2 NBA playoff series can come to an end tonight. The Celtics, after looking primed to repeat as champs as far back as a week and a half ago, now 2 blown leads and a blown Achilles to Jason Tatum. They're on the brink of elimination, hosting the Knicks today, trying to stave off elimination. And the Timberwolves look to get back to the NBA's conference final for the second straight year. They're 1 away and will host the Stephen Curry-less Warriors tonight. Baseball this afternoon, a final already, and it was the Twins over the Orioles by a score of 6-3. Bottom of the 8th, Milwaukee leads Cleveland 7-5, and the Phillies on top of the Cardinals 2-1 as they enter the 9th. I'm Rich Ecker.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The piping hot takes of Ryan Hot Take Hickey do not, I repeat, do not reflect the views of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
It's Hickey at night Sunday, combing our hair with moose gel and spray. The takes are so hot, hot, hot. Sometimes he's right, usually not. This best segment is coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey head. Hot takes and hair gel on a Sunday night. Hickey's dropping takes that probably ought to cry. Dropping a teaser for what's coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey heads. Talking Penn State while Stu's smoking kush, but Hickey is always the number one bush. You will nicer and more, might get more sober than Stu. We only joke of us, we like you, but I have to ask, is it true? Is your hair held together by pace and loop? Oh, Hickey's takes are coming up next, but you better watch out for the Hickey heads.
Alrighty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. You know, it's been a big theme around here these days that if people take vacation, you call them out for it, especially when they shouldn't be taking vacation. So Boomer Esiason, there was a big article about it. He was saying, Dave Sims, first year on the job as the voice of the New York Yankees, shouldn't be taking a vacation and missing a weekend series up against the Sacramento, Oakland Athletics, whatever you want to call them. And that made a few national headlines. So, not that it's on the same scale, but Ryan Hot Take Hickey just got a new job as the executive producer of the Bill Ryder Show. He also just moved his show from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays to Sunday afternoons from 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. So working his way on up into hours that people are actually like awake and alert and attentive.
Conscious, sober.
Now they could really hear just the horrible takes. I remember the horrible takes of Hot Take Hickey. And I went to go tune in on Sunday. Was all jacked up. All right, my guy, Hot Take Hickey, teammate guy, Zach Gelb, locker room leader around here, just going to bat and just going to really support my guy, Hot Take Hickey. And you weren't there.
That's right.
So where were you?
I was en route home from a wedding over the weekend.
En route home? Where
correct.
was this wedding?
In New Jersey.
Oh. South Jersey?
I guess technically North Jersey, but I just drove straight west.
Was there a brunch or anything on that Sunday?
There was a little bit of an early brunch, yes.
Okay, what time did that brunch end?
I mean, it's not official. Just we stayed at a giant house that had bagels.
When'd you leave?
Left probably 11:30.
11:30
a.m. Eastern.
North Jersey.
That's
We're
right.
345 Hudson Street in New York City. You couldn't get in here for a 2 to 6 show?
Well, it's not that I couldn't get in. It was a few things, moving parts. Number one, with the show, like you said, moving up times, I said, okay, with this wedding, I would like to still do the show, but also being Mother's Day, I'm like, oh, we had Mother's Day brunch planned a month ago, not knowing the show was going to change. It was at 2:30. I said, oh, perfect. I'll reach out. I'll change the time of my show from 2 p.m. to 10 a.m.
Celebrate Mother's Day on
and
Sunday
then all of a
night
sudden,
or
I was like,
Monday.
oh, I got the wedding, and I didn't drive. When my friends drove, I said, instead of asking, switching, and screwing someone out of a shift, after I already asked to switch.
Not good enough.
I said, can I just have some coverage for last Sunday?
Ask me what I did on Sunday.
What'd you do on Sunday?
I hosted on WFAN in New York City. And I was told 3 days before, I had Mother's Day plans, and I moved my Mother's Day plans from lunch to dinner. That's what I did. You could have done dinner with Mom, with Mama Hickey. You could have. I'm just saying, new show, you announce it, and then the first week after you announce the new show, you're not there. It's not a good look.
Some things come up. What can I say? Some things can't be moved.
Dave Sims and Ryan Hickey. Whew. Not a good look these days for either of you.
I will be here for a while. That's all I got to say. And now
did you take off on Friday with Bill?
Yes.
So you're off Friday with Bill.
That's
that
right.
show ends at noon.
Well, I'm in the wedding. I had
When was
rehearsal
the
dinner.
wedding?
Well, the show ends at noon. My responsibilities don't end at noon.
Oh, you
I have
can
other
get out of here at noon.
responsibilities. I have minutes. I have to podcast, tweet out, pull stuff from Bill's show.
What time
do
was the
some
rehearsal dinner in
rejoins.
North Jersey?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock rehearsal dinner?
Yeah.
Has anyone in the history of the world ever heard of a 3 o'clock
What's the
rehearsal
issue?
dinner? It's a rehearsal dinner.
Yeah, but sometimes you do
That
the
night.
dinner first, drinks.
Who does dinner at 3 o'clock? What is this? Your grandmother was getting married? Is early bird special? 3
I
o'clock?
liked it. I was hungry.
3 o'clock? I don't know. I got to investigate. I'm going to send Stu. Stu's going to be snooping around North Jersey. Going to be calling up that restaurant on Friday.
Snoop and Stew. That's going to
Snoop
be a
and
good
Stew.
segment. I like to send them out each week and investigate. We have Pablo Torre finds out. Now we have Snoop and Stew.
See, I'm just teasing with you here, but now I'm getting serious. No one has a 3 o'clock rehearsal dinner. I want to see this invitation. 3 o'clock rehearsal dinner.
Okay, sure.
No chance you were at dinner at 3 o'clock. You're lying to my face.
I'm not lying to your face. We left early
After
morning. We hung
all
out
I've
for a
done for you,
while.
our close relationship, you're not lying to my face. A 3 o'clock rehearsal dinner. You were eating dinner at 3 o'clock.
We probably weren't eating. I don't know what time it was. I don't know. It was
6 o'clock.
It was afternoon time.
You'd be a terrible witness.
But
If I
it's
ever
like
committed a crime and I needed a
either
witness and they
way,
went to Hickey, I'd be in jail.
If you're trying to guilt me into missing a show in the
I'm just
first week of
asking.
a new job, I don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
Life happens.
I've missed Thanksgivings. I've missed holidays. I'm just saying.
You're a great guy, and I'm not.
No, I'm not saying you're a bad guy.
Simple
Just
as that.
The work ethic.
I have no qualms about it.
The work ethic.
Hey, it's a wedding. It's not like I'm sitting here saying, yeah, I'm tired. I've been waking up new early, new schedule. I need Friday off.
Friday wedding. No, Friday rehearsal dinner, Saturday night wedding?
Correct.
Okay. You could have worked on Friday and got out of here at 1 o'clock and made your 3 o'clock rehearsal dinner.
Well, again, it's,
Hold on. Saturday, if you had something, totally get it. It's a good friend's wedding, you take off. If the wedding was in Florida or something like that, okay, I get it. You don't make it back for Sunday. When the wedding is on Saturday, Dunzo, you were probably back in the city if you didn't have this lunch for Mother's Day at what? 12 o'clock? 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock, 1:30 with traffic. I mean,
could have got here too.
I will say, not to pat myself
People
on the
need
back.
your takes
I've
during the
had
playoffs.
a Friday wedding earlier in the wintertime, and I was back for Sunday's show. So, I think my work ethic cannot be questioned. Just this weekend, it didn't work out timing-wise, schedule-wise, a few moving parts.
Once again,
I lost some things in the shuffle, I will admit.
Once again, I'm not saying you can't take off. You can't use your vacation. What I'm saying is, when you just announced the brand new time slot, the first week, then you're trying to build a rapport with a new audience, and you're not there.
But again, it's not like it was like it was like last
waited
minute.
a week. You should have just said, "Oh, I'm filling in this week," and then this week announce it.
I mean,
You
I still
could
don't have a new show name, so it's not. I mean, I didn't really put a big tweet out that it's like I technically,
You
to
did.
be fair to myself, no, I tweeted Bill's show. I technically have not announced my
You
new
made the
Sunday
announcement
show
on the air. I was listening.
Well,
you did.
I mean, sure.
Just take it out. Just
no,
take it out.
It's
you can
it's
take
the
it
new
out.
time
You take enough
slot.
of them.
The new show name has yet to be officially announced.
Which sources tell me what you suggested to management was not happy about, and one manager in particular may have been in the newsroom yesterday saying the Hot Take Hickey show
oh boy,
is under consideration.
it's not under consideration in my view.
Well, don't worry, we'll announce it and you'll take off the next week anyway.
Well, I may take off permanently if it's the Hot Take Hickey show.
No, you wouldn't. You're not turning down the money. Let's be real. A lot of people say they're going to turn down the money. You don't turn down the money when it's off.
Listen,
and the on-air shift.
I'm Trey
Please.
Hendrickson.
Now you got an ego.
I may.
You're insufferable.
I may not participate in the show if it's not the name I want.
Okay, then you won't host that ever again. It's that simple.
Also
And I know you want to host. So
That's true.
You have no
Why are
leverage
you
here.
undercutting my own leverage? I don't have many to begin with. I want to try to at least pretend like I do.
Because you lied to me. It's
anyway, I did not lie.
3 o'clock rehearsal dinner?
Bus picked us up at 3 o'clock. It's all the same. It was far away.
What was it,
like
the early bird special at
was
like
an hour away.
Bubby's in Boca or something? Jeez.
Bubby's in Boca.
What are we doing? All right, are you happy with the Knicks?
I am extremely surprised and extremely happy.
Well, I have some audio. This is why
Here
the
we
Knicks
go.
are on the verge of winning this series. This was on Wednesday last week. So the Knicks were up, what, 1-0?
1-0. Game 2 was a week ago.
Yeah. So
Today.
they were up 1-0.
Going into game 2.
Let's just hear the audio on why the Knicks, in all likelihood, are going to be advancing to the conference finals. Where's your confidence, real quickly, that the Knicks are going to win this series up against the Celtics?
Out of what scale? 10?
Yeah, sure.
A 1.
A 1? The only thing that does not make that the ultimate Hickey hex, and this is the reverse mush, so you did a good job.
No.
Is if you would have said 0. Because there is nothing more that I enjoy in sports talk radio right now. When I tune into my radio, when Hickey is actually working and not announcing a new show and then not showing up the next week, and he goes, there's no shot, no way that this happens. It's one of my favorite things that you end up doing.
I got a lot of conviction. I love to dig my heels in and not move. Go down with the ship.
I'm just reading something from General Bob in Nevada. Zach Gelb, hot take Hickey rarely smiles. Get that man to smile. Hickey has a great smile, by the way. At newspapers, the sports staff is labeled the department. Not serious news. Fun time. I think you smile a lot.
Not.
I don't know. I think
I smile all the time.
I think you're usually a happy kid outside of the fact where you're crying in the bathroom here at the show every time you get a wrong prediction. But I usually think that, that you're a happy kid.
I like to think I'm an optimist.
I think the reason why he's not smiling on the show is because you're always insulting him and making fun of his bad predictions. That's why he's not smiling. There you go.
Let's be real. Let's walk around this newsroom. Who treats people right around here? Is it Zach or is it Samter? We'll do an anonymous poll.
Who treats people around the newsroom nicely, period?
I've had a lot of part-timers reach out to me, and I still stay in contact with them that are no longer here. They're like, I always love the way that you treated me. Can't say the same for all the rest of the hosts.
Wow.
Just say, a lot of people like me around here.
I don't get those texts. I feel like I'm optimistic. I'm positive.
I think you're good with the with the people that are training. I think you're very good.
I like to think so. I guess clearly enough. I don't get these affirmative texts every week.
I don't know if you're training them well, but I think you're doing. I think you do a good job. Wow. I'm a big supporter of yours, but we're busting balls. We're having fun. It's life would be so boring if I just sat here and was like, "Oh, Hickey, you're the greatest. You're unbelievable. You're the best host I've ever heard." Take all your vacation. Get 50 weeks out of the year.
Now we're talking.
50 shows don't even show up. You still get paid. Don't worry.
Talking.
Oh my God!
Sign up for that.
Yeah, you don't have the work ethic like Shep. Shep didn't miss a show this on Sunday. He was at his grandmother's house. He was whispering into the microphone.
Shep has literally run the New York City Marathon and run right into a show.
He stunk, by the way, that day.
Wow.
Oh my God! But Shep, did you hear Shep on Sunday?
I did not.
Was whispering into the microphone. Was visiting his grandmother, doing the house from his grandmother's house. First segment, and Shep is a soft speaker to begin with. Whispering because he didn't want to wake his grandmother up. He didn't miss the show.
He did the show from grandma's house.
He did not miss the show.
And whispered.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
He didn't lie to me like you did.
That is
I have a 3 o'clock rehearsal dinner. A 3 o'clock rehearsal dinner.
Well,
just say you took off for a wedding and I would have been fine with that.
I did say that. I said it right from the beginning. If the bus picks us up at 3 or the dinner's it's all the same.
3 o'clock rehearsal
You got to
dinner.
be ready to go. A lot of people were scrambling in the showers. I was ready to go. I couldn't have left
scrambling in the showers, yeah, because you were probably doing takes in the shower and you were delaying the shower line.
Well, we did run out of hot water at the house. I will not say it was because of me.
All righty, good to see you. Thank you.
Likewise.
All righty, we'll get to the Pete Rose Hall of Fame topic next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, hour number 2 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. So the news came out yesterday that Rob Manfred has adopted a new policy. If you are dead and you are banned from Major League Baseball, you are no longer banned from Major League Baseball because it was a lifetime ban and you are no longer living. So Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson, I'm sure that they were celebrating yesterday. They are no longer banned from Major League Baseball, even though both of them are dead. So now it will open up the door for Pete Rose to potentially get into Cooperstown, something that should have happened years ago while he was alive. However, Pete Rose gambled on baseball, and they banned him from baseball. And Pete Rose, it took forever for him to admit that he was wrong. And Pete Rose, we know, is not the greatest human being in the world. I think that's the nicest way to say it. There's a lot that has been accused of Pete Rose and a lot that has been talked about publicly with Pete Rose. But for me, the Hall of Fame isn't, are you a great person? I know they have that character clause in it, and Ack used that as a defense yesterday. I'm sorry, folks. Like, the Hall of Fame, to me, you could be the worst person on the planet. You could be. If you have the most hits in the history of Major League Baseball, the most home runs in the history of baseball, or you're a Hall of Fame player, you have the numbers, you should be in the Hall of Fame. The objective of the Hall of Fame, for me, the way I view it through my lenses, is to tell the story of the game and to honor the great players. And you cannot tell the history of Major League Baseball without people like Pete Rose, Barry Bonds. I know two different issues, but those two people in particular need to be in the Hall of Fame, and many others as well. So I was reading one article, because it's one thing, right? Pete Rose, who's dead, is no longer banned by Major League Baseball with the whole change yesterday. So Pete Rose, I guess, now goes into the Classic Baseball Era Committee, where I guess that's the people that will ultimately determine if Pete Rose will make the Hall of Fame, because I saw a bunch of these lame baseball writers. Well, let me just be real. There's a lot of people that cover Major League Baseball that I like. So when I say these lame baseball writers, if you're a sensitive baseball writer that I know, I respect your work. It's not you that I'm going after. But there's so many people that have this badge to vote for the Hall of Fame, and they think like they are protecting the Hall, and how could we ever let like a piece of trash human being into the Hall of Fame, or someone took steroids. Oh, you know what? We can't put you in the Hall of Fame, but if someone took steroids and they treated me nicely, oh yeah, I'll vote for them, no problem. But the guy that didn't treat me nicely, oh, he took steroids, even though he was a better player. You know what? Yeah, we won't put him in the Hall of Fame. That's what it is. Ivan Rodriguez. Why is he in the Hall of Fame, Pudge? Because him and the media had a good relationship. Pudge is no doubt about a Hall of Fame player. He was once asked, did you take steroids? His answer, only God knows the answer to that. No problem. John Heyman puts him right in right away. But you look at someone like Barry Bonds, oh, Barry didn't treat the media well. See, it's not that Barry Bonds took steroids. That's what people hide behind. It's because Barry Bonds didn't treat the media well. And quite frankly, Barry Bonds was a prick. All right? But guys like Big Papi, who I love Big Papi, right? He gets in, not even a second thought about it. A-Rod, he cheated. He cheated multiple times. A-Rod, phony people say, so we're not going to put him in the Hall of Fame. It's just the way that the baseball writers contradict themselves, they're embarrassing. The baseball writers for years with the Hall of Fame in the last decade have embarrassed themselves. And they sit there like, we need to protect our era. We need to protect these records. We need to protect the great players. But then they basically just urinate on my era. Roger Clemens. I hate Roger Clemens. I despise Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens is my least favorite athlete ever. But with that being said, you're a moron if you don't think Roger Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame. So, I know that the Pete Rose issue is different than the steroid issue. Because I'll get tweets, I'll get emails. Pete Rose didn't cheat. He's not a cheater like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. I get that. But when we get into the Pete Rose conversation, it's inevitable. And Reggie Jackson and I once had a conversation. This was in 2017, 2018. And I said, should Barry Bonds be in the Hall of Fame? And Reggie Jackson said no. He said, if you took steroids, if you cheated, I don't think you should be in the Hall of Fame. And then I'm saying, explaining my case, I usually do, right? Because we're not the show that just has a guest on and they could say whatever they want, right? I'm not saying it has to be contentious. But if I disagree, I'll tell you I disagree. I'm not just going to sit there and be like, oh, we have Reggie Jackson on the show. Ooh, this is unbelievable. Reggie, tell me about all the home runs that you hit. Ooh. Like, if I have an opinion and the guest disagrees with my opinion, guy may know more about baseball than me. Obviously, he does. Guy played the game at a very high level, right? His opinion matters, but my opinion matters too, right? If you're on my show. So at the time, I said to Reggie Jackson, I made my case for Bonds and I made my case for Clemens and et cetera, et cetera. And he goes, well, do you think Pete Rose should be in? And I said, absolutely. And he goes, well, you know what? You're consistent. I'm actually I'm on your team now. So I actually got Reggie Jackson in the middle of the interview when we were talking Sosa and all these guys. I said, I put them all in. I judge based off the stats. And I'm also judging and saying, tell the history, right? So Barry Bonds, he cheated. Barry Bonds, also the greatest baseball player I've ever seen. I'm okay with telling the whole damn story. You want to put a little asterisk there on the plaque and go, there were steroid questions. I'm fine with that. Just tell the damn story. But you can't just imagine. Like, here's the other thing. Bud Selig is in the Hall of Fame. All right, Bud knew everything that was going on. Joe Torre, Bobby Cott, all these managers. They all knew what was going on. Oh, they get it, no issue. But we're holding the players accountable. And you know what? If Bud Selig was sitting right here and he would lie right to my face, right? But you would say this to him. You turned your head the other way. Why did you do it? And the truthful answer would be because it saved Major League Baseball. Those home run chases were bleeping awesome. So long story short here, I'm not saying you got to love that someone cheated. I'm not saying you got to love Pete Rose as a human being. I understand clearly why you wouldn't. I'm not saying that you got to support what Pete Rose did as a manager. We'll keep it to baseball for this argument, though. But do you have the numbers or not? And how could you have a Hall of Fame where a guy has won multiple Cy Youngs like Roger Clemens, a guy is the all-time home run king in Barry Bonds, and Pete Rose is the all-time hit king and have none of them in it right now? Or A-Rod, what does he have, like the fourth most home runs of all time or whatever it is? He not be in the Hall of Fame. That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, getting back to this whole Pete Rose thing, I guess now he will go his legacy, his status, I don't know how they narrow it down, to the Classic Baseball Era Committee. And if I'm reading this correctly, it's a 16-member committee. The Classic Baseball Era Committee consists of 16 individuals, including Hall of Famers, executives, and veteran media members. So if it was just the baseball writers and only the baseball writers, I still wouldn't be convinced that Pete Rose is definitely getting in. Because you will have some of them that will sit there and they'll have their nose up in the air held really high. Oh, I can't allow Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. He gambled as a manager. I can't do it. Even though he has the most hits of all time, you big dummies. Seriously. And then I guess that Rose will need 75% of the votes. And that'll be 12 out of 16 to be elected in the Hall of Fame. And here's the best part. I don't like this. But it is a secret ballot, I guess. So you will not find out who actually votes. But the Hall of Fame, you don't need to make your ballots public either for the regular ballot. But many of the writers do. I remember, it's like the same Hall of Fame that, you had that one jackass, right, that didn't vote. Was it Derek Jeter, right, or Ken Griffey Jr.? Ken Griffey Jr. It's like, this guy wasn't unanimous 100% back 45 years ago, so I can't do so now. I'll tell you, if there's one job that I would never do, I don't care what the money is, I would not cover a full baseball regular season as a baseball beat writer. That's got to be the most miserable job in sports. Not on the planet, but in sports. And so many of these baseball writers, they are like miserable people. There's a lot of great baseball writers too. Like, I have a lot of friends that are baseball writers that I like, but there are some miserable, and I mean miserable baseball writers. You got to go to that stadium every day. You have to cover 162 games. And you know what? Baseball players are difficult to deal with. And a big reason why is they got to talk to the media before the game, they got to talk to the media during the game, and they got to talk to the media after the game. There's too much availability. But in this case with Pete Rose, does anyone like Santer? I know you like to be a contrarian from time to time. It's just your natural instinct sometimes. You would not even say that Pete Rose shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, correct, Amundo?
No, I think that he should be in. If he's off the ban list, he should absolutely be in, especially because his issue was as a manager, not as a player. He's not getting elected to the Hall of Fame as a manager. He's getting elected as a player.
And even so, even if he did better in the games as a player, it's disgraceful, right? The act isn't good, but if you have the most hits of all time, I don't care if he took a baseball bat and swung it at an umpire's head. You have to be in the Hall of Fame. You have to be. How can you say this is a legitimate Hall of Fame when the man with the most hits in the history of the game isn't in your Hall of Fame? Like, I don't condone the majority of things that Pete Rose has done. Pete Rose, you can't sit there and say he was a wonderful human being. I don't look at the Hall of Fame and say, let's put the most wonderful human beings in the world. Like, I met Joe McEwing when I was 7 years old. He was a nice guy. Chris Woodward was a nice guy. You're not sitting there saying Joe McEwing and Chris Woodward belong in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds was a jerk. Pete Rose was a terrible human being. Barry Bonds, most home runs of all time. Pete Rose, most hits of all time. They need to be in the Hall of Fame. Oh, who was the guy? Harold Baines is in the Hall of Fame. Harold Baines is in the Hall of Fame.
He's the worst Hall of Famer across every sport.
I'm not even going to say that, but if he's in the Hall of Fame, think about that. So that's your opinion. Fine, whatever. Whether people agree with it or not, whatever. Harold Baines, though, is in the Hall of Fame. But the man with the most home runs and the man with the most hits isn't in your Hall of Fame. And Roger Clemens, even though I can't stand Roger Clemens with what? How many 5 Cy Young? 7 Cy Young. Sorry, I shorted him to. 7 Cy Youngs and an AL MVP and a 2-time Triple Crown winner and a 4-time MLB win leader and a 7-time ERA leader and a 5-time strikeout leader. He's not in the Hall of Fame. He's not. And I hate Roger Clemens. If Roger Clemens is sitting next to me right now, I tell him I hate him. I don't like you. But you should be in the Hall of Fame. It's just stupid. Curt Schilling is another guy. Totally different topic of conversation. Right? Barry Bonds. Not in the Hall of Fame right now because he was jerked to the media and people and he cheated. Pete Rose not in the Hall of Fame right now because he's not eligible up until the last day. Curt Schilling was a good regular season pitcher. He is one of the greatest postseason pitchers of all time. If Curt Schilling didn't open up his mouth and say some despicable things, right? Curt Schilling would be in the Hall of Fame. Not even close. Not even close. Curt Schilling is not in the Hall of Fame because of his politics. That's why. And because of some disgusting things, to be fair, that he did say about journalists. But Curt Schilling belongs in the Hall of Fame. I am not about the Hall of Fame of are you a good person? I'm the Hall of Fame of are you a great player? Were you a great player? I'll tell you right now, I don't think I should be the end-all be-all. I don't think it's ever healthy to be the end-all be-all. But I could do a much better job in terms of consistency with the Hall than a lot of these people that vote. Remember Le Batard? And I'm not even a big Dan Le Batard fan, to be honest. Remember when Le Batard sold his vote or something? A dead spinner? I forget what it was to get a fan vote. That was a pretty kick-ass ballot that year. So I think the whole process should change. I think, Vince Scully when he was alive, that dude didn't get a vote for the Hall of Fame. That dude's seen more baseball than anyone that's ever voted for the Hall of Fame. And I know team broadcasters, having the 2 Dodgers announcers have a vote isn't going to sway it that much. I think the Hall of Fame players, should have more of a say too. And I think, yes, the writers should still have a say because the writers are important. I'm not saying the writers are unimportant. The writers are definitely important. And sometimes players think a player's great and the player wasn't that great. So there's no perfect way to do this. All Hall of Fames have flaws. But baseball to me is the one that drives me the most bonkers. Because, and I've been to Cooperstown too, multiple times. It is a fun town. The people in that town are good people, right? They bring a lot of kids there, right? Baseball games, all that stuff. It's really cool. Going to the Hall of Fame is a neat thing if you've never done so before. But I'm so fed up with the whole Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Fame, to me, has a big mark on it until you get some of the all-time great players in the Hall of Fame. Because it's not a Hall of Fame if you don't have some of the greatest players ever in the Hall of Fame. So that's just me. Anyway, so off of Pete Rose, who's a player? Because basketball, they put everybody in. Hockey, Roenick for a while wasn't in, and he finally got in. But really, the debates that we usually have of Hall of Famers are baseball and football. So let's go around the room. One player each, baseball, football, that should be in the Hall of Fame that isn't. Let's start baseball. Stu, we'll start with you.
All right, mine's A-Rod. It is, obviously a lot of these steroid guys will go under that umbrella. But to me, Barry Bonds was the best hitter I've ever seen. A-Rod's probably in that top 3 or 4 with Griffey and Pujols. So I think he's a Hall of Famer. I know some people don't like putting steroid guys in, but I'm someone who would put them in, so I think A-Rod would fit under that category.
Well, bleep them if they don't like it. Santer, what do we got next?
I was going to go with my favorite player growing up, Sammy Sosa, but since
really?
He was my favorite player growing up.
Wait, growing up?
Yeah.
How old was How old were you when Sosa was?
Well, Sosa broke into the league in '89, so I was 9 years old. But when he joined the Cubs, that was like 92, 93.
Yeah.
He got 30-30 with the Cubs.
Well, real quickly, it's just funny when you say that because I loved Sammy Sosa when I was growing up as a kid. I remember I met him. He was going for 600 home runs. And it was early 2000s, and the Mets opened up the season. He was a few away with the Cubbies, and it was freezing cold, and I got a chance to meet Sammy Sosa, and it was awesome. Like I thought that some of those Cubs team, Kerry Wood, Mark Pryor, Derek Lee, Sammy Sosa.
Well, no, don't throw Derek Lee in there because Derek Lee was on the Marlins. Derek Lee was on the Marlins when they lost in the 03 playoffs, and then he joined the Cubs afterwards. Screw Derek Lee. Derek Lee was the reason why Bartman was to blame for all this stuff.
No, it wasn't. Wasn't that Alou?
Derek Lee was on the Marlins at the time. After the Bartman played, Derek Lee hit a game-tying or go-ahead double.
Gotcha.
I hate Derek Lee, even when he joined the Cubs.
It was weird. I always liked some of those Cubs players. So it's funny how we are not anywhere close in age. And one of my favorite players growing up was Sammy Sosa, and he's also one of your favorite players.
Yeah, so my last name's Samter. My friends call me Sammy.
Sammy Samter?
So I was Sammy. My friends call me Sammy Sosa. Actually, the name was made up by someone else in the industry, a buddy of mine from high school, Evan Cohen, who is a radio host over on the Four Letter Word.
Oh, ESPN? Evan Cohen, you were friendly?
Yeah, we went to the same high school.
Let's be real. We could say that. We could say the other networks. There's so much change in this business. There is so much, friends that we have. I know Evan well. I like Evan.
So thanks to Chris Berman and Evan Cohen, I was Sammy Sadian Sosa. That was my nickname in high school. So
when you played Little League, and you would hit a home run when you played Little League, would you jump up and down?
If I hit a what?
A home run in Little League.
I was a varsity starter on the baseball team for 2 years.
Glory days.
I was a good baseball player. Yeah. I never once hit a home run in my entire baseball career.
You were like a David Eckstein, right? I would imagine.
I was walks, stolen bases, singles, doubles, a few triples here and there.
Dustin Pedroia?
I may have had like an inside the park home run that was probably 2 or 3 errors, but I've never hit an actual home run over a fence ever in my life.
Okay.
The craziest thing about Sammy, and he's not going to be my pick, but I said I was going to go with Sammy. You started asking me all these questions. I said I was going to go with Sammy.
Sam's is the kind of guy that the wife tells him, go get eggs and milk. He comes back with eggs, milk, cookies, carrots, hummus, pita chips.
No, worse. She says, go get eggs and milk. I come back with hummus and pita chips and forget the eggs and milk. But the crazy side about Sosa, 3 years he hit over 60 home runs. None of those 3 years did he lead the league in home runs. The guy I'm going to go with, because I don't think that there's really a steroid belief around him, and if there is, it hasn't really been voiced, is Andrew Jones. It's the best defensive center fielder I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The guy was a great hitter, hit 50 home runs once, led the league in home runs once, RBI multiple times, over 30 home runs.
If fielding mattered,
he should be the best defensive center fielder the game has ever seen. He was so good, he belongs in.
Like Omar Vizquel is a guy that's had 7,000 Gold Gloves. If fielding is a part of the game, then those guys should be.
But the difference was that Omar Vizquel was like a moderate hitter. Andrew Jones was a very good hitter, at least for power.
Yeah, no, I think Andrew Jones should be in. The problem is Andrew Jones stuck around too long. If he would have retired 3 or 4 years maybe, or 5 years before he actually did, I think that he probably would have got in by now, which is just stupid, but that's it. I already went off on Bonds. I was going to say Bonds. So that was my answer. Bonds, Clemens, Sosa, McGuire, Palmeira, all the steroid guys. If you got the numbers, Manny Ramirez, I'm fine with you getting the Hall of Fame. All righty, let's go football. I will say I have advocated for 2 guys in the last 10 to 12 years to make the Hall of Fame. They eventually both did. Jerry Kramer and then also Leroy Butler. The next guy I've been advocating for the last 2 years, Sean Alexander. People tell me Sean Alexander didn't play enough. Guy had 100 career touchdowns. So he didn't play enough, but he had 100 career touchdowns. He basically played in 6 full seasons. He should be in. He also won an MVP and was an Offensive Player of the Year. To me, he played from 2000 to 2008. You really chop off the last 2 years and really the first year of his career. Sean Alexander, in that short of a stretch, had 100 touchdowns. And that's a guy that should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, you look at this. First year, he only had 64 carries. Last year, only had 11 carries. In 2007, only played in 13 games. 2006, only played in 10 games. So you're looking from 2001 basically to 2005. That was the bulk of it. 14 touchdowns, 16 touchdowns, 14 touchdowns, 60 touchdowns, 27 touchdowns. That's 100 rushing touchdowns total. And the years that we're not counting that ended up getting 100, he had 7, 4, 0, and 2. So a guy basically played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and he had 100 touchdowns. And in all those years, 1,300 yards, 1,100 yards, 1,400 yards, almost 1,700 yards, almost 1,900 yards rushing. The dude was an absolute stud. Oh, yeah, and by the way, he had 12 receiving touchdowns. So 112 total touchdowns for a guy that basically played 6 years. To me, that's a Hall of Famer. Stu?
So my player in the NFL didn't have the best stats, but he was a quarterback that won 2 Super Bowls as a starting quarterback and a Super Bowl MVP, and that's Jim Plunkett. It was a different era, so the stats aren't amazing, and even for his era, his stats weren't that great, but I think if we're going to put Eli Manning in the next 3 or 4 years, which I think we will, I think Jim Plunkett for his era should be in.
Samter, I know who he's going to say. I know.
I think you know who I'm going to say. I only have one guy.
It's a suck-up spot.
It's a suck-up spot.
It's a suck-up spot.
To an extent, but over the years...
He deserves to get in. Don't get me wrong. If he played in this era, his stats would be even better.
This is a guy who's a friend. It's a guy who I used to work with.
It's a suck-up spot, though.
But Tiki Barber...
doesn't even work with the guy anymore. He still sucks up to him.
His last 3 years in the league, 2,100 all-purpose yards, 2,400 all-purpose yards, 2,100 all-purpose yards from scrimmage. There are only 3 players in NFL history who have 10,000 yards rushing, 5,000 yards receiving. Marshall Faulk, elite. Marcus Allen, elite. Tiki Barber is the only 3 who have that stat. He was not just a great running back, he was a great receiver out of the backfield. When he retired with the Giants, he was the Giants' all-time leading receiver and rusher. And he had 1,500 yards, 1,800 yards, 1,600 yards in his last 3 seasons. Over his last 7 seasons, the dude averaged 1,900 yards from scrimmage over his last 7 seasons. So I'm just saying he belongs in. The NFL, unlike baseball where it's a longevity thing and a stat compilation thing, the NFL, short careers of dominance, Tiki was dominant for a 7-year period of time.
Yeah, I also heard Tiki used to give Samter the best gifts out of any host he's ever worked with. That's also what I heard.
Quid pro quo.
No, I obviously think Tiki should be in, but I knew where Samter was going on this one. You know what? Sean needs to be in before Tiki. Sean won an MVP. Tiki didn't. And you know what? I've talked to Tiki about this, and Tiki agrees with me that Sean needs to be in the Hall of Fame. But at least Tiki gets on these like ballots and stuff and gets into... not a finalist, but he's been close before.
I think he was a semifinalist once, or he's definitely been nominated and moved past a couple times.
Alrighty, we may have an answer on Nick Saban's future in college football. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it's time to ask the pros. You, the listener, gets to ask us a question brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INF Sports Center at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. If you're listening later in the show, we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. I was just reading this. So we talked about this last week, where Nick Saban was expected to be named the co-chair of the Presidential Commission studying all college sports. So it kind of brought this thought that, like, oh, this is Commissioner Nick Saban. And Nick Saban has always been standoffish and has not wanted this commissioner stuff. A little bit different when it's being when what has been talked about in the past and then what President Trump has talked about. We also had Chris Peterson on, the former Washington and Boise State coach, and he was basically told me very politely when I tried to throw that out at him, if Saban didn't want it, maybe he should get it. And Chris was like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. So this is the latest. Paul Feinbaum, I guess, had Saban on, and this is via On3 Sports. Nick Saban is not sure if we need President Donald Trump's Commission on College Sports. First of all, I don't know a lot about the commission. Secondly, I'm not sure we really need a commission. I think that a lot of people know exactly what the issues are in college football and exactly what we need to do to fix them. I'm not opposed to players making money. I don't want anybody to think that. I just think the system that we are using, the way it's going right now, is not sustainable and probably not in the best interest of the student athletes across the board or the game itself. I think this is very simple. And I don't know if anyone would disagree about this. Players should get paid. Players should have the right to transfer. But what I don't think is right is basically free agency, not only every year, every semester. You could have an NIL deal You go play 1 year, and then you don't like the way that spring ball, or even some of these times, let's make it even simpler. A kid goes and commits in the winter, spring ball comes around, and then he leaves by the end of spring ball. It's like wild to me. So this is what I think needs to have happen. There should be more contracts with this NIL stuff that define how long the terms are of the contract. And maybe you should get one transfer if the contract is over 2 years. So, like, if you sign an NIL deal for 2 years, alrighty, you're there for 2 years at university, whether you like it or not. But if you're going to sign a 4-year NIL deal or a 3-year NIL deal, and I think we need more specific terms, so that's the problem. It's the wild, wild west. I have sat next to someone who is in charge or works with the collective at a university, is the way that I should say it. And I would say to him, I just saw that this player got $2.5 million. He's like, I don't even know if those numbers are true. So I think there needs to be more specific terms where there is a transfer limit and we have more defined terms here. Because that, to me, is the part that gets a little bit bent out of shape. Like, imagine if an NFL player could just say after 1 year, right, signs a 4-year contract, let's say. And after 1 year, I got enough of I got my signing bonus, so I'm just going to leave. I'm going to enter free agency. You can't have every year free agency for every player in the sport. So there needs to be more rules. But if you're Nick Saban, why would you want to be involved in any of this stuff? Like, I get it, right? It's the president that's trying to bestow this honor upon you. But why would you want to be involved? You just got out of college sports because you didn't want to deal with all this crap. Now you have a comfy TV job where we've seen Nick Saban smile more in one football season than we've seen him smile in his entire career. Doing TV, doing College Game Day, parading around stadium to stadium around the country each and every Saturday. Why would you want to try to find the answer to this problem and to this mess right now? Once again, Zach Gelb. Fully pro players getting paid. Fully pro players getting the right, if they want to transfer here and there. But every semester free agency does not work. And that's what needs to be cleaned up. All righty, we'll come on back with a news brief. We'll update some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio after this. Rich Ackerman, Sports Update.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Well, we've already seen the highlights of the NFL schedule. The rest of it comes out tonight, and some more treats with the second game on Thanksgiving Day featuring the Cowboys hosting the Chiefs. It'll be the first time Texas native Patrick Mahomes plays in Dallas, and the Chiefs also will host the Eagles in Week 2 in a Super Bowl rematch. The Ravens and Derrick Henry have reportedly agreed to a 2-year extension with $25 million guaranteed. The top seed is out in the East tonight. The defending champs could follow with the Celtics hosting the Knicks, looking to stave off elimination. And, of course, no Jason Tatum tonight after his brilliant performance in Game 4, which came to an abrupt end, unfortunately, due to a torn Achilles. Golden State won't have Steph Curry again when the Warriors face the Timberwolves, facing elimination. Curry has missed the last 3 games, all losses by the Warriors. Lots of day baseball today. Right now, the Diamondbacks out to a 6-2 lead over the Giants in the top of the third. Twins lead the Orioles 4-0 in the bottom of the third after taking Game 1 of 2 at Camden Yards, 6-3 from the Orioles. The Yankees and Mariners are scoreless in the bottom of the second. Also today, the Cardinals' 9-game winning streak ended with a 2-1 loss to the Phillies, and the Brewers rallied from 5-2 down to beat the Guardians 9-5. I'm Rich Ackerman.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
All righty, let's start it off on the ice today. The Dallas Stars, I feel like they are the only team in the league that gets a player with a hat trick, because I feel as if we talk about them getting hat tricks all the time. Rantanen had 2 hat tricks so far this postseason, I remember, both occurring in one period. This didn't occur in one period, but he had 3 goals in a game by Mikael Granlund, and he had a hat trick last night as the Stars only scored 3 goals, and they were all by him, and they defeated the Winnipeg Jets 3-1. The Stars have taken a commanding 3-1 series lead. And the Winnipeg Jets won the President's Trophy this year. So if they lose their next, whenever they lose next, if they do lose next in this series, then they will be going home. And the last time we've had a President's Trophy winner go on to win the Stanley Cup and hoist Lord Stanley Cup was back in 2013 when the Chicago Blackhawks did so. Let's listen up to the Stars Radio Network. And this is how the hat trick sounded in the third period.
Duchesne left circle, off the bar, it stayed out. Heiskanen holds it in, right side, one-timer score! It's Mikael Granlund! A hat trick! Let him fly!
I like that. Off the bar, you got the excitement right in front, the Granlund goal. I give that it's a solid 7.9. It's a good call. Good call. And I want to hear these guys freak out a little bit more. That's what I'm looking for with some of these play-by-play guys. Let's go to David Adelman of the Denver Nuggets. They're now down 3-2. Only Nikola Jokic basically showed up for that team in the fourth quarter. And here's David Adelman on why his team struggled in the fourth.
I mean, you can say it's fatigue. I think shot quality, too. I thought early in the quarter we did get really good shots. They didn't fall. And then late, their pressure got to us, and we were up against the clock a lot. So if it is fatigue, that's not me. I'm deciding who's going to run it, who's going to be out there.
I'm sick of the fatigue talk. Who was it? It was Charles Barkley, who when they had a day off in between, he goes, I didn't like when they played him at night, and then they had to go play the earlier game 2 days later. Chuck, they had a day off in between. And both teams had the same circumstances. So what are the Denver Nuggets? They're just tired? They're a sleepy basketball team? Is that what they are? Come on. What, hanging out with Stu before the games? And is that why they're so tired in the fourth quarter? Here's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the comeback win.
The game obviously wasn't going our way. And we always say, the answer is never a hero play or anything out the ordinary. It's being who we are. It's trusting each other. It's playing with all five on both ends. And whatever the problem is, we can fix it with the collective effort and not a single effort. And that's all we try to focus on when it wasn't going our way. We did enough to get a W.
Here's the scary part about the Thunder. I don't even think they played their best game yet in the postseason. And they're still one win away from going to the conference finals. So they're going to need to play a lot better if they do find a way to win one more game in this series. And they'll get two opportunities if they need them to do so, now being up 3-2. But if they do get the Timberwolves, so the Timberwolves have also been sleepwalking through the playoffs too. They were able to sleepwalk past the Lakers. And then this series, I don't love the way that they've looked all the time up against Golden State Warriors. But both those teams, it's going to be fascinating. The Thunder are a better team than the Timberwolves. Doesn't mean the Timberwolves can't win it if that is going to be the matchup. But with that being said, I feel like those teams need to play a little bit crisper because they haven't, neither of them have really played their best brand of basketball yet. Let's go to Rick Carlisle. The Indiana Pacers went to the conference finals last year where they did lose to the Boston Celtics. They are now going to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. It doesn't look like Boston will get back there because it looks like the Knicks will, as they're up 3-1 up against the Celtics, and the Knicks will try to close out Boston tonight in Boston. Here is Rick Carlisle, though, after Tyrese Halliburton shot nearly 67% from the field and had 31 points to secure another trip to the conference finals for the Indiana Pacers.
Look, we're talking about 8 more wins for an NBA championship. The league is wide open this year. I mean, there are a lot of great teams, but it's wide open, and we've just got to keep believing.
It is wide open. The Thunder are the best team, but could the Thunder maybe have a moment where they look as if they're not ready yet? Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Timberwolves have some playoff experience. The Pacers were in the conference finals a year ago. Now they're there again. And the Knicks have a very good team. So it's wide open. If it goes the way that we expect it to, Knicks and Pacers and Thunder and Timberwolves, I would give the edge, obviously, to the Thunder to win it all. But it's not a lock that they will do so. Let's hear from Tyrese Halliburton on what makes this Pacers team so good.
We're different than every other team in the NBA. We don't just have one guy who scores all the points, or, I think we defeat teams in different ways. We move the ball. The ball is flying. We've got a lot of different guys making shots, making plays. We've preached our depth all, for the last couple of years, and, it's paying off now.
And let's go to Cooper Flagg, House of Highlights. This is the credit to them. Who's the most underrated NBA player, Cooper?
Who's the most underrated player in the league, in your opinion?
I would say Tyrese Halliburton, because people hate him and call him overrated all the time and say he's not that good, but he's just such a good basketball player.
Also, I don't know about you, Stu. LeBron's tweet last night. Did you see this about Tyrese Halliburton at all?
I actually don't think I did, no.
Hal effing hoopin'. Where's the lames who said he was overrated? Quiet as hell. That boy nice, and even more, someone everyone who would love to play with at Mind the Game Pod. It's such a LeBron, I'm friends with everybody type of tweet. I love Tyrese Halliburton, blah, 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 blah. I doubt LeBron voted on this anonymous player poll with The Athletic, but I would love to know if LeBron did vote, who he voted for. That's just typical LeBron in the playoffs. When he's out, he just becomes the biggest cheerleader for everybody else. Let's go to Kenny Atkinson. Cavs, tremendous regular season. They were the number 1 overall seed. Do they consider this season a success?
It's not a success in terms of where, the goal we had. We had a goal to make that next jump, right? So I'm not sure we can say that, right? I do think we can say we got better and we improved. But a success would be you're going to the conference finals, so can't deem it a success.
I love that answer. Right? Remember Giannis a few years ago when they went out in the first round? He went off and that reporter who asked, is this season a failure? Kenny Atkinson could have easily sat up there and said, we had a great regular season. We came up short in the postseason, but I'm not going to say it's a failure. Him saying that it's not a success, I actually respect that from Kenny Atkinson. And that's why a lot of people like him as a coach. And he suffered a lot of injuries in this series, and his team just didn't show up at home. Here is Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs going 0-3 in Cleveland.
I love playing in that arena, man. Like, that energy, that crowd. We're 0-3 at home. Let the city down, man. This place is special. This place is really special. And we can get it done.
And let's go to Tristan Thompson on the disappointing playoff exit.
You got to starve before you eat. You got to starve, go days without food before you can eat. So I think we understand that. Guys, I think mutually across the board had that feeling. So, we got some hungry motherfuckers. So I know they're gonna do whatever they can this summer to get themselves right because, we got some work to do, but we're hungry and we know what it looks like. And, guys will be ready next year.
If you had to take a guess, Stu, how old is Tristan Thompson?
Oh, he's got to be up there. He's got to be like 38.
Samter, what's your guess?
I'm going to go 37.
It's only 34.
No way.
Right?
Wow.
Because when I saw him on the stat sheet, I knew he was on the Cavs because I saw the Cavs twice in a week, even though he, doesn't play a crazy amount. But I knew he's been hanging on the NBA for a while. I was thinking, man, he's got to be close to just hanging. I thought it was starting to feel not as wild as when Udonis Haslem was still on the Heat, but I was starting to get those vibes, and I'm like, oh, he's only 34? He made his debut in the NBA in 2011. 2011. He feels like, though, he's been around, obviously, way longer than that. Let's go to Dak Prescott. He was on the ticket in Dallas on his new wide receiver, George Pickens.
Yeah, we've connected, and I'm excited. I mean, you turn on the tape and you see a guy that can catch the football. You put the football anywhere in his vicinity, very strong hands, more than a 50-50 catcher. He thinks it's his ball when it's in the air, and I'm excited for him. I know that we need some help in that position. I know CD needs some help, and I think when you have a guy like that, and I heard George say it, it's hard to double-team two guys, and then when you've got other guys, whether it be Ferg, Jalen Tolbert, Mingo, guys who have had reps and know how to get open in the league, I think we're putting together a nice group of weapons.
My follow-up would be, hey, George could sometimes be a little bit difficult when he's not getting the ball. How do you manage that? How do you handle him on the sidelines, Dak? If there's a game where, yeah, you guys are up and you got 3 touchdowns, no picks, you got 300 yards, but CD's the guy that's getting the ball and George's a little bit upset on the sideline. How do you handle that? That's what I would ask him. Let's go to LaShawn McCoy. He's on the facility on FS1, and he was talking about Shedeur Sanders in minicamp.
He's going to start early this year. I got my sources, and they told me that he looks like the best player out of the whole camp. 5th rounder, right? Yeah. And I was always taught, I don't care if it's minicamp, facts, real camp, fake camp, high camp, low camp, Boy Scout camp. Be the best at everything you do. That's how I was raised. 100%. And if you look at Shedeur Sanders, his mindset ain't to be in no backup role with these dudes. He's in there to start.
I will say this. I have no desire to see Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett start week 1 for the Cleveland Browns. Nothing against Joe Flacco, Super Bowl MVP. Nothing against Kenny Pickett, right? Former first-round pick. But you just drafted 2 quarterbacks. One in the 3rd round, one in the 5th round. I know not usually when you think starting quarterbacks in the NFL, but I think the real competition should be between Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, and who wins the starting job between those two. There's no intrigue for me or no desire for me to see Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett. There is a desire to see either Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel. If I'm being honest, I would love to see Shedeur Sanders start week 1. I would love it. It would be effing awesome. Let's go to David Carr, NFL Network. Could he see his brother Derek returning to the NFL?
I believe that he is done. I know that Derek loves the game, and I can tell just in the last couple of days that he's definitely done playing, and he's moved on because, like I said, his family, his boys, and his little girl are getting older, and they're getting to the point where they want to have dad around more, and that means more to him than anything else.
Yeah, I just think there was a lot going on there with the Saints. I would not be surprised a year from now if we had this, I'm Derek Carr and I'm coming back or trying to come back to the NFL report. Finally, MLB Network, Paul Skeens on joining Team USA for the World Baseball Classic.
It's important. Obviously, I mean, I've gotten the chance to wear USA across my chest a couple times, gotten to wear it in a couple different fashions.
Yeah.
This is one thing, as a fan of the game, watching the previous World Baseball Classics, that I was like, if I ever get the chance to do this, I'm never saying no.
There you go. I like that. I'm not a huge World Baseball Classic fan. It was fun last time when you did have Shohei Ohtani going up against Team USA and all that stuff. So that stuff was neat. But you got Paul Skeens right now, one of the biggest stars in the game, involved with Team USA. That's good for me. Just no injuries, please. Because I had a player on my team get hurt in the World Baseball Classic. That ain't fun. All righty, we'll take a break. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond. He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Hour number 3 of our radio program. Hey, Santa, I'm going to need you to get me this audio. It's a headline and awful announcing. And just because there's a headline there doesn't mean that it actually portrays the clip, but I can't imagine this one be wrong. Keyshawn Johnson thinks the Pacers, this is the headline awful announcing right now, who won a Game 7 at MSG last year, would be intimidated playing in New York. I got to hear how it sounded and if Keyshawn Johnson had any clue that the Pacers beat the Knicks last year in the playoffs. So let's pull that. We'll play that at some point. By the way, Stu, we're going to do a lot of football right here in this segment because it is scheduled release day. Even though I love this day, but I hate this day. Because the schedule comes out at 8 p.m. Eastern time, right? I have a packet right here of the games that were already leaked. And this packet was printed out, at 3 o'clock? So this could change.
There's probably more that could be added, technically.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages already. And the font is not huge, so it would probably be more like 12 or 13 pages if we had it in regular font of the NFL schedule. Just stupid. It's like, release the thing at 8. I love Art Stapleton, right? He's a great reporter. Art is a friend. I like Art. This guy gets a schedule every freaking year. And I think I know how Art gets a schedule. I think I know. I'm not going to say it on the air. And Art and I have never talked about this. But I think there is a person that leaks that schedule to Art. And Stu, you may know that person too. I'm not going to tell you who the person is on the air, but I think that's how Art gets a schedule each and every year. But it's amazing. Not only Art, like every team's beat reporter gets the schedule every single year, and you know what your schedule is before the thing is announced at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But yeah, I would love to hear this audio later on of Keyshawn Johnson, I guess, said the Pacers are going to be intimidated by the New York environment when they literally won a playoff series there last year. But Stu, I have a question for you before we get to the football.
Sure.
What is the soccer that you're watching today?
Oh, so today it's the
what were you watching last week?
Last week?
Last week, yeah.
Champions League. Sorry, yeah, it's Champions League. That was the Champions League semifinals.
Did they crown a champion?
No, that final is in like 2 weekends.
Wait.
Or 3 weekends, yeah. It's
They went to the semifinal last week. Who are the two winners of that?
That would be PSG was the one side and Inter Milan was the other side.
And one beat FC Barcelona, right?
Yes, Inter Milan beat FC Barcelona.
Okay. So they have 2.5 weeks off?
Yeah, because they're still playing their league games that are ending very soon.
And what is this today that you guys are slobbering over?
This one's the Coppa Italia final. This is like the NBA Cup version of Italy's league. They do like a in-season tournament.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is separate from champion. This is totally separate.
Can I ask maybe a stupid question?
None of these questions are stupid, Zach.
No, it may be. There's a new soccer event on every day that you guys watch where it's not like under the same umbrella. And I'll be honest, I don't watch soccer outside of the World Cup. I like the World Cup. But do you know like all these teams and all these, or like a good amount of these players to have any idea of what who's playing right now?
So it was Bologna and AC Milan. Bologna just won.
Now I want a bologna sandwich, honestly. Kind of hungry. A little bologna and cheese would be good for dinner tonight.
I'll be honest, this one is just one I put on just to have something on. It's not something that I'm like glued to and dying by every kick, but yeah, I know somebody. I mean, the AC Milan's a bigger club. I know a lot of their players, but
Samter, do you know the majority of these teams and the players when Stu turns his stuff on?
Stu knows way more about soccer than I do, but I really latched on to Wrexham as well. So I've been following a lot of the lower leagues.
Spot here. That's the people that send you stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, not just that. It's like I enjoy the show. I love Rob McElhenney from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I love Ryan Reynolds from Deadpool. So right now on the computer, I have Paramount Plus up, and we have Leyton Orient against Stockport, which they're in.
Wait. You got who?
Leyton Orient versus Stockport. And they're both in...
Where the heck is that?
Exactly. They're in League One, okay? And they're in the...
What was the first team?
Leyton Orient.
You could give me 400 guesses. I don't think I would. Where do they play?
In Leyton Orient.
Where is that?
I mean, this is all England, so I don't know exactly where Leyton Orient is, but it is a let's see, they are from Waltham Forest near London. Okay.
Near London. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, near London. So that's basically it. So basically, they're playing right now in the playoff, and this is the semifinal. The winner goes to the final, and the winner of that final moves up to the championship, which is where Wrexham is moving up to.
I don't understand this.
So the winner of this gets the chance to play for promotion.
You know what?
It's
I
amazing.
used to think the most lost I've ever been in my life was in 8th grade earth science. Trying to follow soccer is the most confusing thing ever. Every day I find out about a new team, a new league, a new Fugazi tournament, then an actual real tournament. It's 365 too.
It's 365.
It's too much.
Like we joked that the NFL is a year-round thing because of the draft and the combine.
Yeah, but there's a good amount of games, a proper amount.
Yeah.
It's not every day something's in getting shoved down your throat here.
You get soccer. You get soccer basically Monday through Friday, 365 days a year. Basically, for the most part, there's like a month off here or there. But
they don't
this year
discriminate on the weekends, right? They play on the weekends, right?
Yeah, no. Saturdays and Sundays are their two big days.
You said Monday through Friday, 365 days.
I'm sorry, Monday through Sunday.
I was like, what, they're not playing Saturday and Sundays? What are we doing here?
And this year we're going to get more than we normally get because we have the Club World Cup coming here to the U.S.
Oh.
And then next year is the World Cup, which is amazing. This is the first Club World Cup.
What's coming to the U.S.?
The Club World Cup.
Is that the guy that I talked to at the Super Bowl?
Is
that the part of that?
Yes.
So that's the Club World Cup.
The Club World Cup are the best individual teams from different leagues around the world.
When is the World Cup next out?
next year, 2026, also in the U.S.
That's
so they're
what I
both
thought.
in the U.S. The Club World Cup and the World Cup are going to be in the U.S.
And the same time?
2025 for the Club World Cup, 2026 for the World Cup.
And do you guys care about the Club World Cup?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because it's the best.
I'm just asking.
So as much as we like watching the Champions League, which is the best teams in Europe playing each other, this is going to be the best teams from Europe, Africa, Asia, South America, North America, all playing each other to determine who's the best club in all the world. This is the first time it's ever happened. I am going to be glued to the television. Stu and I are going to be screaming and yelling for days on end.
We're going to outlaw that.
I'm actually probably more into this than I'm going to be into the World Cup.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The U.S. is going to
Stu's
be
like, that's
good.
a hot take. That's
and
a
I
Hickey
always
take.
love rooting for England, but the Club World Cup, I'm going to be so. And plus, Messi and Miami's going to be in it because they're hosting.
And what time of the year is that?
It's coming up, I think, in June.
Yeah, it's like late June.
Good. I'll take some vacation there. Last thing I need is you two just.
But to Samter's point, this season ends like at the end of May, and then the Club World Cup is in June.
Doesn't that take away from the World Cup?
Well, the World Cup's next summer.
Okay.
But then, so that's going to take place in June, early July, and then the next season starts mid-August. So there's like no off-season.
This is too much.
So the Club World Cup starts exactly a month from today, Saturday, June 14th in Miami. You got Inter Miami hosting Al Ali from, I guess that's maybe a Saudi Arabian
Yeah, but
team?
that's a Saudi.
Yeah, some of the Saudi
team.
teams have gotten pretty good.
Okay. Whatever floats your guys' boat.
It's going to be awesome.
I've never been more
in the
lost
dog
in 8
days of
minutes of radio in
summer
my life.
when you're in game 103 of the baseball season that no one cares about, this is going to be taking it over.
Yeah.
NBA playoffs should be over by now.
No, the NBA playoffs shouldn't be over by now.
June 14th?
They should. Oh, you're saying by then?
Yeah, by then.
If there's a game 7, maybe it's like
Yeah.
maybe a week longer.
Yeah. And this thing is going to last for like about 3 weeks or so. It's going to be awesome.
Soccer's like ranch to me. Serious. That's what it's like. Football is like blue cheese. That's how I would describe it. Now let's get to some football because I just did 9 minutes on the Fugazi
We just did football.
No, we got to get to the real football. The NFL schedule leaks. So here's what I got so far. Now, we trusted Greg with this task. That's what we did, Samter? So you're just training people and you just handed off the paper of the work that I asked you to do.
Well, he was actually busy sending some tweets and texts, so I couldn't fully trust him. No, so I went through and I highlighted a bunch of games, and then I said, hey, Greg, how about you look over my work and see if there's anything that I missed? And he went through and found 5 or 6 games. One that I thought was really interesting that I didn't even think about, and he had a really good angle for it.
So what I'm looking here is the blue highlight, and then the star of the games that Greg thinks are really important.
Yeah, so So the blue highlights with the stars are the ones that Greg highlighted, and then I just kind of put a blue highlighter over it. So the ones with the stars are the ones that Greg added to my list.
Oh, okay.
They're not extra special. They're just the ones that Greg added.
So the stars are the ones that you missed.
Correct.
Gotcha. All right, so good checks and balances. That's actually a good teaching lesson.
Yeah.
That's good. No, I'm good with that. I thought if we just gave the list blindly to Greg and said, come up with the games, then I'd be a little bit concerned.
No, I asked him, how well do you know the NFL? He goes, I know the NFL better than anybody else around here. And I'm like, all right.
Oh, that's just not true.
Let's see about that, buddy. And he did a decent job.
Greg is a passionate football fan. Greg is a somewhat smart sports fan, but he don't know more about the NFL.
He's not that smart of a sports fan. He tried to convince me about Ben Simmons a couple years ago while we were eating tomahawk steaks.
Oh, my God.
That was not a good take by Mr. Greg over here.
That is right. And he was like spitting all over the table. And
and I are enjoying a gigantic 70-ounce tomahawk steak.
And he picked up the bone and started eating off the meat right off the bone of our scraps
he's a rabid animal over here.
It was crazy. It was wild. All right. Cowboys, Eagles start off the football season that Thursday night. I don't like Greg, do me a favor, put Greg on the mic on Stu's microphone real quickly. We don't need to put him on camera. We don't want to scare anyone that's watching the YouTube stream.
Face for radio.
Oh, no, I'm just teasing. I'm being a jackass. Do you like the Cowboys week 1?
No. It's like giving the Cowboys too much credit and publicity, right? Like they've been so mid.
Well, at least they'll be able to see a Super Bowl banner
that
don't have cobwebs on it.
I would have gone with the Rams because it was such a good playoff game.
That's fine. I would have Rams. Would have been more than fine with me. Who else? I know we talked about this yesterday.
Lions.
Yeah, Lions would have been good.
Commanders.
Even the Commanders, an NFC Championship game rematch.
Exactly.
The Cowboys, to me, all right, whatever. I don't need to see the Cowboys to kick off a season. All righty. Friday, You have the Chiefs and the Chargers in Brazil. All right, that's interesting. Little statement moment to start off the year for Harbaugh and Herbert. Steelers and Jets. Oh, that's Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know how much national appeal that game is.
If Rodgers is starting for the Steelers.
Can I finish the sentence?
Okay.
Can I finish the damn freaking sentence?
I just wanted to make sure you understood my mindset
Yes,
when I highlighted
obviously,
that.
if Mason Rudolph is the quarterback for the Steelers, no one cares about that game. But even with Rodgers going up against the Jets, is that a big deal that Rodgers is going up against his former team that he played there for a season? Why? Because Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji did the right thing and told him no? That being a 1 p.m. Eastern time game, they know Rodgers is going to be on the Steelers. It shows you that they don't think that is that big of a deal.
But you also know that the lead up to that week on McAfee, there's going to be a lot of fun on the way in and the way out of Rodgers talking junk about Aaron Glenn and the Jets.
I guess.
Billboard material.
Yeah, the Titans and the Broncos. We highlighted that game. What for? Cam Ward, Bo Nix. Is that why?
It was. So that one I didn't initially have. You can see there's a star next to it. Greg added it, and I figured, you know what? Yes, it's the number 1 overall picks. First game. Sure, let's throw it on
He was the number 1 overall pick? Cam Ward?
I believe so.
Oh, if you were watching the draft coverage, they didn't even acknowledge him. It was just, Shador Sanders didn't go.
They didn't even mention him. They were talking about the trade before while
and
he
it's
was
one of the
walking up on
great
stage.
stories ever.
Unbelievable.
0-star recruit, Incarnate Word. I didn't know where that was until I was driving around with Stu in San Antonio, and we saw a sign that said Incarnate Word, and I interviewed Cam Ward. And Washington State, and then also Miami, Heisman Trophy finalist, number 1 overall pick. Ravens and Bills. Oh, that's Sunday Night Football on NBC, yeah. To open up the season, phenomenal. I like that. Week 2, Eagles and Chiefs. A Super Bowl rematch in week 2. And also, did the Eagles only play the Chiefs in Kansas City?
I saw a note about this.
Is that the 3rd straight year? Because they played them on the rematch when Sirianni walked up the field. Did they play them last year in the regular season?
No. They played them in Philly in 2021, though. So they've been bumping into them a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's at least then back-to-back years, I guess, of them in Kansas City. I thought it was 3 straight.
2 out of 3. 23 and 25 seasons. They didn't play the regular season last year.
Oh, sorry. So back-to-back times where they played in Kansas City. All righty. Let's keep that moving. Super Bowl rematch, though, week 2. You can put big game early on in the season. I thought they maybe do that middle of the year with the trajectory potentially of both those teams. Week 6. We'll skip all the way there. Lions at Chiefs. Oh, I like that. Bears at Commanders on Monday, October 13th. You get Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. That was the Hail Mary game last year, right? Where the dopey Bears corner was celebrating, and then Jaden Daniels had that touchdown in the end zone. Other games that stand out. Week 9, Chiefs and Bills. Can I give a hot take?
You? Never.
I'm going to give a hot take here. Don't get me wrong. People will care about Chiefs-Bills. I do not care if the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season. They have beat the Chiefs in the regular season multiple times. They have never beat them in the postseason. So if the Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season, what's supposed to be my take? They've done it at least 3 times now. So go do it when it matters in the postseason. Eagles at Packers Monday night. Oh, too bad that game is that Angry? No, it's Brazil.
Why that's a big game.
Well, yeah, I know why. Where is that game being played?
That's at Lambeau.
Is it at Lambeau? Why did I think that was a funky location game? Can we look up if Eagles and Packers? I know it was in Brazil last year.
Yeah.
For some reason, I feel like that game is not at Lambeau. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But too bad that game isn't in Philadelphia, because you'd have the Philadelphia fans. LaFleur, you're a weak. You know why I can't say what I want to say on the radio? It begins with a P. But you know what? They would be going after LaFleur.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Exactly.
And by the way, Santa gets in my ear and he's like, "Were you about to call him Putty Cat?" No, I was never going to use that language. Would never speak like that. But
it is in Lambeau, by the way.
Oh, it is Lambeau. Okay, so it's a tush-push game. Ooh. Eagles fans traveling to Lambeau with those nice fans could get a little bit rowdy. There. Lions and Eagles week 11. What, did Greg just highlight every Eagles game? No.
Mine are the Stars.
No, Lions and Eagles is a tremendous.
They are the defending champions, so there's going to be a lot of them.
Yes, against going up against the paper champions of the Detroit Lions, who just claimed the trophy before even finding their way to get to an NFC Championship game. Packers at Lions. That's Thanksgiving 1:00. Chiefs at Cowboys on Thanksgiving. That's the 4:30 game. Oh, that's a fun one. Here's why. People love to see the Cowboys get smashed on Thanksgiving. People also love to root against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be who do you root for in a spot like that. Friday, Bears at Eagles. You guys' mics are on, just by the way, just letting you know. Friday, Bears at Eagles, 3 p.m. Eastern on Amazon Prime. So you get Caleb Williams up against Jalen Hurts. Bengals at Bills, week 14. That's a good game. That could be a potential playoff preview. Packers at Bears late in the season on December 20th. That's a fun one. Eagles at Commanders. That's a rematch of the NFC Championship, week 16. Week 17, Lions at the Vikings. Love that. That's a Thursday, Christmas Day. These are all Christmas Day. Cowboys at Commanders, good. Broncos at Chiefs. So Gallo will either be happy or miserable on Christmas. Sunday, Eagles at the Bills, December 28th. That's a good one. Week 18, Commanders at the Eagles, Chargers at the Broncos, Lions at the Bears, Packers at the Vikings. I think we did like the whole Eagles schedule there. So I'll ask you this simple question. We'll go around the room here. We'll start with Stu. Give me a team that you're fascinated by in the NFL this year with the schedule coming on out tonight.
So my team, I would say the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, they had a very good year with Sam Darnold as their quarterback last year. I think, importing a rookie, I know he's going to be technically not a rookie, second-year quarterback, but he will be a rookie for all intents and purposes. I'm curious to see what they do, especially in a tough division, a lot of talent around McCarthy. So I think the Vikings are a team that could either be, a 10-11 win team or maybe even less than that if McCarthy isn't what they think he is.
Okay, good answer. Santa, what do we got?
I think I'm going to go with the Bengals. Between everything going on with Trey Hendrickson, the money they just gave to T. Higgins, they were so good individually last year, but still only had 9 wins. They're either a Super Bowl contender or Zach Taylor's getting fired. Right? So it's going to be so interesting to see where they land. Are they 9-8 again, or are they going to win 14 games, which wouldn't surprise me either. So, they could be anywhere between 9 wins and 14 wins.
I'm going to say the 49ers. Brock Purdy is eventually going to get paid. They lost a lot this offseason. And that's a team that's getting older, and you wonder if their window has closed. They should be a wild card team. I don't view them right now as a Super Bowl contender, but I'll be curious at the end of the year. Do they miss the playoffs again, or do we look at them as a team I don't want to say has shocked us all because it's not like crazy if that team goes on a run, but if that's a team that ends up finding a way to get back to a Super Bowl and then end up hoisting up that Lombardi trophy. All righty, we will take a break. When we come on back, it is a Take 5 Wednesday. We will get to that, and we're talking quarterbacks next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The football season might be over.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is.
But don't you worry, there are still rankings to be made. Yabba-dabba-doo! So get ready as Zach gives you his top 5 in this week's special edition of Take 5 Wednesday.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Alrighty, time for a little Take 5 Wednesday. By the way, is EJ Stewart still on vacation? Just wondering.
He just started his vacation yesterday, I believe.
No, he has to be more than that. I
No,
think he's been
he was
out
here
every day
Monday
this
and
week.
he
Was
left. He was here Monday and left Tuesday.
Okay, I'm not slamming him for going on vacation, but I used to have this problem, and I don't anymore. You're on vacation. Unplug. He just tweeted out, just watching the Thunder Nuggets game from last night. Them boys are hooping. Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going band for band with something special. Like, enjoy your vacation, EJ. All right? Unplug a little bit. We don't need you watching every single NBA game and being all plugged in and tweeting about it. You have a problem with what I'm saying?
I mean, this is coming from the guy who sends me texts. You could be away for 3 days, and inevitably I get a text like, hey, could you post this or that? And I don't mind doing
different.
it, but you're like on your vacations,
That's
you're doing
different.
more work than anybody who who's like actually working.
No. Publicly, I may not be doing work. Like, I'm detaching myself from social media unless if I'm posting about some food that I ate on vacation or a concert I went to. but I just like to have a few checks and balances with my staff when I'm out, because it may be a vacation for me. It's not a vacation for you guys until you guys take your vacation. So I'm just making sure that you're working still, and you're alert and plugged in even when I'm away. It's like I don't want there to be
vacation from the show, though.
Yeah, yes, but I don't want it to be any like substitute teacher action or anything like that. Like when I'm away and Samter and Stu are just sitting here slobbering over soccer and not paying attention to whoever's filling in.
And we're jumping on the table, throwing spitballs. It's great. We love substitute teachers.
Like when Sean Levine is hosting or Linnell Willingham, I want you guys to be attentive. So I just keep you on your toes a little bit. Anyway, Take 5 Wednesday. Here's the topic today. This is not for elite quarterbacks. So I don't want to hear, what about Lamar? Or what about Josh Allen? Or what about Joe Burrow? Top 5 interesting quarterbacks entering this season that aren't elite quarterbacks in the NFL. In at number 5, Justin Herbert. Last year, that team made the playoffs. Last year, that team did go further than I expected them to, but in the postseason, you had a winnable game, and your quarterback was just god-awful. And now you have year 2 with Jim Harbaugh. It was a good, solid foundation year 1. Now I need to see Justin Herbert start to look like a top 7 quarterback in the league and not just be based off reputation, actually have tangible proof on the field. In at number 4, it's Shedeur Sanders. I don't know when Shedeur is going to start games this year for the Cleveland Browns, but he will start games at some point this year for the Cleveland Browns. And whenever he plays, it's going to be the biggest thing that we talk about that week. I guarantee it. In number 3, Trevor Lawrence. It's another coach for you. Trevor Lawrence survived Urban Meyer. Trevor Lawrence had a solid first year with Dougie P and Doug Peterson. Now he's on a new coach in Mr. Duval. In Liam Cohen, he needs to have a changing year. You need to have a franchise-altering year for Trevor Lawrence, or else people are going to look at him and say, yeah, that dude, another one of these generational quarterbacks that's been fine, but not as good as he was hyped up to be, or nowhere close to being as good as he was hyped up to be. And at number 2, Caleb Williams. I wanted to put him 1, but the next guy that I'm going with the number 1 spot, I just couldn't move him off that number 1 spot. Caleb Williams had an underwhelming rookie season. Wasn't horrible, but he wasn't the best rookie quarterback, and that was another generational quarterback that we were told about for years. But now you have no more excuses. They went out there, even in the draft, they drafted you a new tight end, a new wide receiver. You already got Rome Odunze, I think will bounce back this year. You got DJ Moore, and you got the brightest offensive mind in the market to coach your team in Ben Johnson. They revamped your offensive line, bringing in Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, and Drew Dahlman. No excuses for Caleb Williams this year. I put him at number 2. And then in at number 1, it's Brock Purdy. Because if he gets paid, there's a ton of pressure to live up to that contract. If he doesn't get paid, it's can you prove that you're worth what you want to get paid by NFL teams, especially the 49ers. And also the 49ers have lost some talent, and they've had to shed some salary to eventually probably give out this new deal that they will inevitably give out to Brock Purdy. But we're starting to think, okay, is this Niners window starting to slam shut? Brock Purdy, if he is all that, then he'll be able to elevate that team this year. So those are my top 5 non-elite quarterbacks that I'm most interested in. Not who's the best, but I'm most interested in for this season. How we'll be talking about the end of the season. Justin Herbert in at 5. Shedeur Sanders. Do the Shedeur Sanders. In at number 4. Trevor Lawrence in at 3. Caleb Williams in at number 2. And then the number 1 spot, Brock Purdy. Samter, turn away from the soccer and speak now or forever hold your peace.
Oh, let's go goal! Oh, wait, so I'm sorry. Sorry about that. My fault. I'm going to start with your guy, who everyone is fawning over, Drake May, who looked good, but not great last year. Now there's all these people, hyping him up. So what about your guy, Drake May?
Yeah, I just... I don't think it's moving at a crazy train speed. I still think it's going very slowly. I do think some of the praise for the Patriots has gone overboard, if I'm being quite frank. The Patriots still have offensive line concerns, even though I like the draft pick of Will Campbell at 4th overall. And they brought in Stephon Diggs. I saw Stephon Diggs sit at the Knicks game the other night. When is he going to be a full go for the Patriots? I know they brought in the man that doesn't like to wear shoes in Matt Collins, who's a solid player. But I'm still looking at this offense, and I don't love the weapons and the line. even though they made a lot of good defensive moves this offseason. So I don't think it's a make or break year for Drake May because he impressed people in year one. Obviously, he needs to take it to a different level this year, but I still think that the Patriots are a little far away from where the praise actually is right now.
How about J.J. McCarthy? The Vikings spurned Aaron Rodgers for your boy from Michigan, J.J. McCarthy, coming off that injury.
You know what? That's an egregious miss.
Yeah.
That's why we do checks and balances here. I would take off Herbert off this list if I could redo it. I would slot Shador to 5, Trevor Lawrence to 3, Trevor Lawrence into 4, JJ in at 3, Caleb Williams at 2, and then Brock Purdy 1. It's easily JJ. Because you look at JJ McCarthy, that team made Sam Darnold look good. And I think JJ McCarthy's better than Sam Darnold. And that's a damn good division. Yeah, JJ's got to be on that list. That's hand up. That's a bad job by me. I'd swap Herbert out, Shador down to 5, Trevor Lawrence down to 4, JJ in at 3, Caleb 2, Brock Purdy 1, top 5 non-elite quarterbacks that I'm most interested in this year.
Well, I'm going to go with the former number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, who looked like a lost cause and now kind of resurgent. I'm super excited to see what he might be, especially now that they gave him some weapons and Ted McMillan, T-Mac, we can't call him Ted.
Come on, don't be disrespectful to his mama.
I apologize. But I'm intrigued to see what he can do. Is he actually going to be a legitimate number 1 overall pick starting quarterback, or is he kind of like a flop?
So I'm not saying I'm not intrigued, but with him having a good saving season last year, I just don't think it's top 5 intrigue. I think people look at me like he's fine. Now we need to prove that he can be a franchise quarterback, but the other guys are just more intriguing to me because even if Bryce Young has a really good season, does anyone think the Panthers are going anywhere? Probably not. Maybe at best they're the 3rd best team in that division. I would say, right, the Bucs are better on paper, and also when you look at that division inside the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons would also be better on paper as well.
Well, speaking of those Falcons, your boy BPE, Big Penix Energy.
Oh, I was like, who the heck is Big PE?
BPE, Big Penix Energy. I mean, with Kirk Cousins over his shoulder, the Falcons are probably the favorites, if not,
Kirk Cousins is over his shoulder, but he may be limping while he's walking over his shoulder.
He may or may not even be there, but if he is there's a lot of pressure on Penix that they went to him, that they drafted him, and that there's actually expectation of the Falcons to win that division this year.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's not intrigue. We just haven't seen a full season of him yet. So, I'm not saying he's out of sight, out of mind because he played towards the end of the season, but the other guys on the list, Shador with the fall is just a more compelling story. Trevor Lawrence with the contract and a new coach, more compelling story. J.J. McCarthy, right, similar spot, but I think there's more expectations for the Vikings. And then, right, you look at Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy, they're on, I would say, better teams right now than the Vikings, for the Bears and the Niners, than I would say when you look at the Atlanta Falcons. So Falcons always have that aura that something's going to go wrong. But there's intrigue, just not top 5 intrigue for me.
28-3. The last one.
You don't have to cough it. Say it openly. Scream it. Get up on the table and scream it, Santa.
No, I'm a Jet fan. I don't. It was in my throat right there. And the last one for me really is whether or not this guy could become literally one of the elite top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Jaden Daniels was his rookie year. Flash in the pan. Is he going to be a good player that kind of levels off like C.J. Stroud did, or is he taking that next level, that next step to be like elite, top 3, top 4, top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL?
I thought you were going to say Stroud or Love. I think there's expectations on Love, right? And then
they're boring to me. I know it sounds Love and Stroud. They bore me. I have no interest in them.
Now, folks, you just had a Jet fan who hasn't had a quarterback.
Let's go Justin Fields. Come on.
Mark Sanchez is the most successful quarterback he's had in the last 20 years.
2 AFC title games.
And he's saying C.J. Stroud bores him and Jordan Love bores him.
They're very good players, but they're not interesting to me.
Samter, you would crawl from here to LaGuardia to go pick up either of those quarterbacks to be the quarterback of your team.
In a heartbeat. But from a personality standpoint, they're just... From an intrigue standpoint, I'm just not intrigued by them.
That's fine.
They're very good quarterbacks. I would take them in a heartbeat.
Yeah, so I don't think that I look at really C.J. Stroud all that differently. Where in year one, to answer your question on why I'm not putting Daniels there, in year one, C.J. Stroud, people said it was the greatest rookie season we've ever seen from a quarterback. And then last year, his line stunk. Every wide receiver got hurt. And people held it against him, but then come playoff time or in the offseason, I think everyone came around and be like, oh, the circumstance wasn't that great. So Jaden Daniels, don't get me wrong, is viewed as where C.J. Stroud was viewed last year, but now even more because Daniels had a better rookie season than Stroud. I just don't think we're crushing Jaden Daniels if he plays like how C.J. Stroud did last year, which was still, you made the playoffs and won a playoff game. So if there is some regression, I'm okay with that because it's not going to be what you saw in year one each and every year. So that's why I didn't put Jaden Daniels on the list. Alrighty, that will do it for a Take 5 Wednesday on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We will come on back. We'll look at the NBA games tonight. I will also ask the crew a question, and I also got maybe the greatest Ask the Pros question we've ever received in the history of this program. So we'll get to all that on the other side. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Well, the Timberwolves were hot at the end of the season, then took out the Lakers, and now trying to knock off the Warriors. They try to close out the series tonight on their home floor, up 3-1 on Golden State, which remains without Steph Curry. They have lost all 3 games since he suffered that hamstring injury in Game 1. While the Knicks, the first game of the night, will try to dethrone the defending champs as they try to knock off the Celtics in Game 5 in Boston, which, of course, won't have Jason Tatum, who is done not only for this season but likely all of next year with that torn Achilles that required surgery. Lots of afternoon baseball today. The Diamondbacks have gotten 2 home runs from Ketel Marte. Eugenio Suarez has also gone deep, and they lead the Giants 8-4 in the top of the 6th. Top of the 7th in Game 2 of 2 at Camden Yards. It's the Orioles now in front of the Twins 6-5. Grand slam for Cedric Mullins. The Mariners lead the Yankees 2-0 in the bottom half of the 5th. Earlier today at Camden Yards, it was the Twins over the O's 6-3. The Phillies snapped the Cardinals' 9-game winning streak with a 2-1 win, and the Brewers defeat the Guardians by a score of 9-6. I'm Rich Hacker.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All right, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. So Sports Illustrated put out this list. Channels and streaming services that you need to watch every NFL game in 2025. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 apps that you need to watch every NFL game. I think this list is a little misleading for one part. So if you get 9 out of the 10, I would consider it a success for you guys. Like in terms of, getting the whole list, because there's a technicality here, which I think is kind of bullcrap when you look at the 10 that are listed. Do you think you guys could get every app that you need to watch every NFL game this year? If you just have to start labeling them off.
I think so.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so we would have, we're including like the cable ones too, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ESPN app.
All right, that's one.
Paramount.
So CBS, that's 2. Mm-hmm.
Fox.
That's 3.
Peacock.
NBC, yep, that's 4.
Yep.
Sorry. NBC
and Peacock, they're separate.
If you could get 8 and 10, 8 out of 10, then I give you credit.
Okay.
Because there's an NBC one, there's a Peacock one. So you got 5.
Okay, there's probably an NFL blanket one, like NFL Network for the London games.
Stu, NFL Network, very good.
Amazon Prime for the Thursday night games.
Yep. Alrighty, so you need to get 3 more. One is an egregious miss that you haven't said it yet.
There's one that I know of.
The Netflix for the Christmas game.
There you go.
Yep. You're still missing an egregious one. You missed one of the networks.
CBS, Fox.
You didn't say Fox yet.
I didn't say Fox. Oh, I thought I did. Okay, Fox yes.
So you got one more. Well, there's technically two more, but one, it's a technicality like NBC and Peacock. There's one that you haven't named that you're going to.
Is there a Disney Plus situation with the?
Kind of. There's an ESPN Plus and then there's an ESPN on ABC.
I see.
That one you were never getting.
Now, are we also thinking Nickelodeon, maybe? They have their Nickelodeon game?
No, Nickeldonian, as Mad Dog Russo would say. Nickeldonian is not listed there, but I think that's because it's via CBS or something like that, how they produce it. And also, it's to just watch every game. That game is on a major, that's a production that's, airing on a different network. There's one more that you guys haven't got. And this is now this one is an egregious error when you hear it.
Oh, wow. Really?
Egregious.
Huh. I might be stumped. And because I remember the Brazil game last year was.
So here's what you got: CBS, Fox, NBC, ESPN on ABC, Peacock, Prime, NFL Network, Netflix, ESPN Plus. It's from Sports Illustrated to watch every channel or streaming service you need to watch every NFL game in 2025.
Oh, like YouTube TV
Bingo.
for the
Look at Stu.
YouTube was where I was going to go with. I don't think YouTube is an egregious miss, but it's a business.
Yeah, it kind of is.
That's where they moved Red Zone to, and that's where they moved the Sunday Ticket to.
I get it. I'm just saying, like, Fox, CBS, NBC is an egregious miss. YouTube, Amazon, Netflix are the ones that,
YouTube now is what
YouTube.
Sunday Ticket was. You got it. You eventually got it. That's pretty good. You guys
I should have gotten
it
it quicker, though. I was trying way too hard there.
You got NBC and Peacock. All right? I would have just been like NBC, and then if you would have made me say Peacock, I would have never ended up getting that one. All right. Let me get to our Ask the Pros question of the day. I need your guys' microphones on because I need an immediate answer. I need an immediate take, immediate answer. Like usually I'm supposed to answer this question.
Sure.
We're going Samter first, then Stu. The minute I read this question, I need the answer. It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day. It's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Moist Mike ISN, who is Mr. Psych Mamter, he says, well, first off, I'm going to do the rest of the read, then do the question, and then I want the answer. So you could submit a question by tweeting at INFSports or at Zach Gelb. Use the hashtag Ask the Pros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's the question. Zach, your show is great, but how much better could it be if your producers worked instead of watching soccer all day? Hashtag Ask the Pros. Samter, we go to you first.
I'm way better of a producer because I watch soccer. I'm constantly energized, full of energy, pumped up, excited, paying attention to sports while I'm also listening to you. We're going all different things, and we add soccer to the show, which, while you're not a big soccer fan, it is the largest sport in the world. Yeah. So we're capturing a different audience that might normally listen to you. You're welcome.
Okay, Stu, any answer?
I'm happier when I have soccer on, so it brightens the mood. Let's just say that.
Because this industry has really thrived off producers' happiness. What was Hunter Mang? Is this a real quote? Because the PGA Championship starting tomorrow. No hype around this PGA Championship. Besides this quote, I guess I would say Quail Hollow is like a Kardashian. It's very modern, beautiful, and well kept, but it lacks a solar character. Samter, can you find a way to transcribe this for me? Like, what does he mean by that?
What he's trying to say is that the Kardashians are vapid and shallow and have no substance or depth to them outside of their external beauty. And that's kind of what Quail Hollow is. It looks pretty, but it's not really like a very... there's no, like, character and no soul.
Well, I mean, in golf terms, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, it looks pretty, but it's just kind of very just... Hey, here's aesthetically pretty. There's probably no like really interesting, unique angles and courses. And
we kind of consider the Kardashians and the Jenners one, right? Like the Jenners get grouped into the Kardashians.
Yeah, but I
don't know.
Not anymore for me.
After seeing Kendall and Kylie Jenner walk right past me at Madison Square Garden the other night, they are beautiful and definitely well kept. And I thought they had tremendous character and a tremendous personality. That's just me when I was in the presence of them for about 5 seconds. That was just me. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, PGA Championship, I've been hearing a lot of analysis on it, even though there hasn't been a lot of buzz. Feels like how well you are off the tee is going to determine this tournament. So I'm going with the big bomber in Bryson DeChambeau. I'll have him win the PGA Championship. Games tonight, NBA. 2 closeout spots. We'll see what transpires. Knicks and Celtics. I have like a 55% confidence that the Knicks are going to win this game. I think this is 55-45 just for this game tonight, but I do lean towards the Knicks. I don't think the Celtics are going to win this series. I don't think they can win 3 straight games without Jason Tatum. I'll be curious, though. Remember after Game 3, Jalen Brunson kind of undressed his team at the podium in a polite way. But he said, we were up 2-0 and we got subconsciously complacent. I don't think that's why the Knicks would lose tonight. So maybe you got a killer instinct from the Knicks tonight after what was a tremendous Game 4 victory. And Warriors and Timberwolves, here's what I'm looking for. No Steph Curry, it stinks. It would be awesome if Steph Curry could get on back for a Game 6 and you have it 3-2. It would be intrigue. But I do think the Timberwolves will end up winning this series. I would love to see Draymond have another freak out tonight and cry like the little baby that he is. Oh, I would love that. I would love to see a Warriors loss and Draymond and Jimmy Butler just sit there crying on the bench. That would be great. Because Steph is the most likable player in the NBA and one of the most likable athletes ever. Draymond Green, insufferable this year. Jimmy Butler, insufferable this year. So without Steph, unfortunately, because of the injury, it would be nice for those two guys to just cry and freak out and lose their mind. So that's what I'm looking for tonight in the NBA. Anyway, that will do it for a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Big thanks to Soccer Stu. Big thanks to Soccer Samter for tuning into this program. Greg Frank also training. Big thanks to ACK as well. And most importantly, a big thank you to each and every one of you, however you do consume our radio program, whether it's on one of our Infinity Sports Network affiliates, SiriusXM Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, or streaming on YouTube. Also like to thank Christian Benford for joining us from the Buffalo Bills and Ryan Hot Take Hickey. Santiago Gallo claimed him handsome. That was Hickey's subject today. Why was that?
I said, Gallo, give me one word to describe Hickey. He said handsome. I said, okay, there it is.
So that's what you wrote today. All righty. I would give 2 words. Wrong takes. Anyway, we out. Bye-bye. Talk tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Pacific Time. Peace.